his counsel, Mr. Shapiro, Mr. Cochran, Mr. Douglas, Mr. Bailey. People are represented by Ms. Clark and Mr. Darden. The jury is not present. Counsel, is there anything we need to take up before we invite the jurors to rejoin us?
Yes, Your Honor, very briefly, we are quite concerned about some of the things that are being said at sidebar that are gratuitous in nature. And yesterday there were statements that were made that were quite derogatory of Jason Simpson and implied that he was involved in planting potential evidence. Since those sidebar conferences are public record and released, it not only causes a great deal of anxiety to Mr. Simpson, it causes us great concern because in the unfortunate event that this jury cannot reach a verdict, it's going to be much more difficult in the future to try to pick a fair and impartial jury if they are being poisoned by these types of gratuitous comments. And I wanted the record to reflect that we strenuously object to those. One moment, please. And in this case, the statement was directly in contradiction to the facts in this case that have been filed by a judge under seal.
All right, any other comment? All right, let's have the jurors.
Ron, can I just one moment? I have to look at an SCT filed by the defense. Let me indicate, I've indicated to Mr. Shapiro already that we have a very short segment of videotape that I wanted to be able to show to this witness on the witness stand, and I want to make sure that it is the date that I think. Pardon?
All right.
Yeah, that's something I can lay a foundation for. Perhaps what I should do right now is show it to counsel so that we don't have to take a break in the proceedings at the time.
All right. What is this video of?
It's a rocking man here.
Did they see us? Okay, we're 30 seconds away. 30 seconds away. Look at me, Dunham. You read that open for? Okay, we're 15 seconds away. 10 seconds away. It's not on our side. On my side. Okay, we're gonna do it. On that now. You can go back and close the video. Opening now.
All right, Ms. Clark, we've had the opportunity to see the video.
It's just a little bit more around. That's it.
That's it? Mr. Shapiro, any comment?
Yes, Your Honor, we'd like an offer of proof as to the relevance.
Ms. Clark?
It will be presented with Cato. But first, before I do that, what I need to inquire of the defense is from what station this tape came and the copy of the SDT that produced it.
Do we know?
I don't think we know at this point. We'd have to try to look it up. See, we'd have to look to see
Today.
right there.
How could they not know?
Well, counsel, out of curiosity, what's the relevance of that clip?
Well, the person that is with Mr. Kalin is Ron Shipp.
Correct?
Ron Shipp has testified to his presence at the house on June the 13th, if the court will recall. We believe this tape was made on June the 13th. It will demonstrate, it will corroborate Ron Shipp's testimony, and then, of course, the clip of the dog.
We'll stipulate Mr. Schiff was there on the 13th.
But people are allowed to prove their case in their
And
own
Ms.
way.
Clark, what is the relevance of the Akita dog?
Well, if one recalls the testimony of Rosa Lopez, a dog that was barking furiously the night before is being very docile and petted by complete and total strangers.
Your Honor, I've had dogs all my life, and sometimes they bark, sometimes they don't bark. And, because they were around a friendly peace officer.
Oh, all of a sudden it's a friendly police officer. I love it. Wait, can I get this admitted?
The problem is the foundation.
We have one counsel per side, Mr. Cochran.
Oh, this. She asked a question regarding the foundation of the SDT.
Your Honor, objection. What?
I noted it. All right. I assume the answer is, since they weren't prepared, they don't, as to this particular snippet of videotape, they can't tell you who the cinematographer was or the videographer, whatever it is we call them these days. However, if it's in sequence, I did see Detective Lang carrying his clipboard and what appeared to be the pair of Reebok shoes.
That he's already
But the
testified.
problem is we don't know if that's in sequence because there appears to me to be a cut in between.
Right, there does. Perhaps I could do it this way, Your Honor. We know that there will be a foundation forthcoming because someone obviously videotaped it and the defense got the tape from that person. And as soon as the defense tells me who it is, I can call the person and lay the foundation.
Let me cut to the chase. Mr. Shapiro, is there any objection to this
Yes, Your Honor.
on foundational grounds?
If I can ask the court to allow me to have the witness identify himself and Ron Shipp and the dog, subject to a motion to strike, I will not elicit testimony from this witness as to when the videotape, those events transpired, and I'll call the person who shot the tape to testify to that.
All right, any response to that proposal,
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
The objection.
All right,
Same grounds.
okay. I'll allow it subject to a motion to strike.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, let's have the jurors, please. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Kalin, would you resume the witness stand, please? All right, why don't you pull the microphone close to you, please? All right, good morning, Mr. Kalin. You're reminded you were still under oath, sir.
Yes.
Ms. Clark, you may resume with your direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. Oh, Mr. Kalin, yesterday you were explaining to us the layout of the house.
Yes.
Oh, I'd like to go back to that for just a brief moment.
This.
Mrs. Robertson, is the water fresh? Water's fresh.
Show you, now you're gonna mark as people 66. You
Would
looked
you
at
like
this.
Mr. Kalin to step down?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. All right, let me ask you a couple of questions. Are there any doors that lead out onto the south pathway from the main house or garage area?
South pathway? This
Yes.
pathway?
Yes.
Yes.
And can you tell us which ones they are?
There's a laundry room.
Mhm.
I guess that would be right here.
For the record, the witness is indicating the yellow arrow that's been placed by, there's a V indentation in the main house. Okay,
And there's one in the garage.
okay. Do you know where on that south wall of the garage it is?
It's the opening here, so it'd be around here, I think.
Okay, be farther to the left of the yellow arrow that's been placed on the board right now?
Yes.
Okay.
That's where the car would have been, right here.
Mm-hmm.
The,
Okay. You think it'd be farther to the left of that? Can you show us approximately where you think it would be?
I think it would be right about here.
Okay, and for the record, the witness has pointed to the area where there's an indentation in the garage, to the left of the yellow arrow placed by the garage.
Here would be 3 to 4 inches
And
to the
perhaps-
left.
May I suggest we mark that?
Right. You have my stickers?
I think that they went back to you.
I have dots now. All right. Perhaps we should either label those stickers with either the witness's initials and/or 1, 2, or 3.
Why don't we put it on there so we get them very quickly on that? Thank you. And for the record, the witness, I'm gonna put the witness's initials on that arrow. VK. All right, you can resume your seat. With respect to the door that you indicated was the laundry room, okay, that door that leads out onto the south pathway from the laundry room of the main house, sir, that is indicated by the arrow that is unmarked on the B part of the main house here. All right, with respect to that particular door, sir, and first of all, did you ever use the laundry room when you were living in the house?
Yes.
And did you ever see anyone go in or out of that door?
Not really used.
Okay. And do you recall whether it was kept locked with a deadbolt or some other means?
I'm not sure.
But you never saw it used?
I never used it. I never really saw it used, no.
With respect to the garage door, photographs I'd asked, I'm going to show them to council.
Ms. Clark? Ms. Clark, are you going to use 66 any longer?
No.
All right, let's have it taken down, please.
Photograph bearing the numbers in the lower right-hand corner, 000095. That's to be marked Peoples 130. And 000096 in the lower right-hand corner of the next photograph, Peoples 131. Hi, Mr. Kalin, were you ever inside the garage of the location 360 North Rockingham?
Yes.
Can you tell us, please, sir, to the best of your recollection at this time, what you recall seeing inside that garage?
If you enter from the laundry room door, you'd walk into a weight set, workout center, right in the front. Mirrors. A car would be parked against the garage door, opening.
What kind of car?
Testarossa,
What color?
red.
Was it kept covered or uncovered?
Usually covered.
Okay.
And there was shelves with, I don't know what was in, buckets, paint maybe.
A lot of stuff in there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you recall my asking you if there was a garage door that led out to the south pathway in your memory when we were discussing this case in
Yes.
my office?
Yes.
Did you remember that there was a garage door initially?
No.
And why is that?
I didn't see it.
Ever use it?
No.
Ever see anyone use it?
No.
People's 130. I'm going to ask you to look at your monitor.
Yes.
Did the items in the garage ever vary from time to time?
You mean storage things or?
Yes.
I wouldn't know. It'd be, there could be stuff in there, yes.
Did you go to the garage often?
No.
How many times would you say you were in the garage during the period of time you were, excuse me, that you were living there?
16?
16 times? And you lived there for how long?
6 months?
If you were shown a photograph, do you think you'd be able to tell what date that photograph was taken?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, Ms. Clark. Proceed.
Do you know what the contents of the garage were or what the garage looked like inside as of June the 12th, 1994?
Of some things, yes.
Okay. If I show you a photograph of the interior of that garage, will you be able to tell us whether it fits your memory of the appearance of that location?
Yes.
Counsel, I think, excuse me. I think the objection is he needs to look at the photograph and tell us if that matches his recollection before it's shown to the jury. And for the record, that's People's 130.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's the garage inside.
And is that the way you recall seeing it, sir?
Yes.
That fits your memory of it?
Yes.
No. Proceed.
One, please.
All right, you're looking at 130 right now, Mr. Kalin?
Yes.
All right. Can you tell us, what are you looking at? What location is that?
That's the, coming from the shot was taken probably from the laundry room door, and it's the garage.
And so you're looking from the interior of the house into the garage?
Yes.
And is that the appearance of the garage as you last remember seeing it?
Yes.
Okay, directing your attention, sir, I'm going to use a laser. Can you look up at the screen for a moment? Okay, you see this little red dot?
Yes.
All right. First of all, what am I pointing to here?
It's the weights, the workout center.
All right. And behind that, those weights, what do you see that I'm circling?
Car, the Testarossa.
Okay. And is it covered here?
Yes, it is.
All right. And is that the cover you recall seeing on it?
Yes.
Was it usually kept covered in that manner?
Yes.
Okay. And over here, sir? What's on the wall over here?
I can't tell from the shot, but I think that's the mirrors.
Okay.
Dark on the side.
All right. Now I'm moving the red dot to an area right here. You see this big cardboard box?
Yes.
And do you recall that being in the garage as well?
It probably was, but I can't recall. I mean, there was storage things. So it probably, yes. It was.
All right. And I'm directing your attention now to an area just above that box. Can you see what that is, sir?
That's the door.
Let me show you another view. Equals 131. And what are we looking at here, sir?
That's just a different angle of the garage again. Same.
With the car
Right.
and then the weights. All
The
right.
shot's taken like where the mirrors would be.
Okay. And then the door would be on the left-hand side of the photograph that you can't see, right?
Correct.
All right, I'm going to show you the next series of 3 photographs. First one with the number in the lower right-hand corner of 88, People's 132.
You're under the video, address the rules based on population.
Same location. I'll show the witness the pictures first.
Please.
If I could mark them, though, so I can refer to them.
All right, 132, 133, and 134.
Correct, thank you. And that'd be 133 has got the number 89 in the lower right-hand corner. 134 has the number 90 in the right-hand corner. Mr. Kalin, can you tell us if you recognize what's shown in these photographs?
The garage.
Okay. And do you recognize the items shown in this photograph?
Items that are stored in the garage.
Okay. And had you seen them there before when you were living there?
Yes.
Do you recognize the car shown in these photographs?
Yes.
Is that the same as the car shown in the previous photographs you've identified?
Yes.
Is there a cover on the car in these photographs?
No.
There are bicycles shown in these photographs. Do you recall seeing bicycles in that position in the garage when you lived there?
Yeah, there'd be bikes. They could be on the other side, that side, but yeah, just like that.
Okay. And the big cardboard box with the television on top of the chest that you see there,
Yes.
does that appear to be the same cardboard box, chest, and television that you see, that you saw in the previous photographs?
Yes.
And does this fit your memory of the appearance of the interior of the garage when you were living at 360 North Rockingham?
Yes.
I'm going to show you People's 132, if you please look at your monitor. Directing your attention now, sir, to the television set and the chest and the large cardboard box. As you look above those items, can you see what is above the television set here? And if you could look at the screen where I'm gesturing with the laser light, if you can see it.
That's the door.
133, please. Showing you People's 133. I'm gesturing with the laser light. What's that, sir?
That's the door.
134, please. And once again, if you could look at the screen, I'm sorry.
The door again.
All right. And you see here the chest and the television set and the cardboard box
Yes.
shown in the previous 4 photographs.
Yes.
And do these views of the garage comport with your memory of its appearance when you were living there?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Kalin, directing your attention back to the date of June the 12th, 1994. On that date, I think you indicated that Paula Barbieri had called. This was in the afternoon of June.
Objection, Your Honor, mistakes evidence.
Sustained.
Can you tell us, sir, whether Paula Barbieri called the defendant on the date of June the 12th, 1994?
Objection, asked.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure, yes.
And after that phone call, sir, did you have a conversation with the defendant about Paula?
Yes.
And what did he tell you about Paula?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Answer.
You can answer.
Part of the conversation was about the recital.
Okay. And what did he tell you about that?
Objection.
Grounds.
Hearsay irrelevant.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
From what I remember, that she wanted to go, and I believe OJ didn't want her to go, kind of on his own.
So he didn't want her to go to the recital with him.
At that time, yes.
Did he tell you what his feelings were about Paula?
Objection, irrelevant.
Overruled.
Answer. That I wasn't sure as far as just the one, maybe not the one.
I'm sorry?
To spend, to be the one to be with, like for life.
Okay. He wasn't sure if she was the one for him?
Objection,
Was-
mistakes the answer.
Sustained. Rephrase the question.
Okay. Can you please tell us, what did the defendant say to you about his feelings about Paula?
Not being sure if Paula was going to be the one to be with.
Did he tell you he was undecided about her?
Objection, meeting.
Sustained.
Did he tell you whether or not he had made a decision about whether he wanted to be with her or not?
Not a decision. It was undecided.
Okay. Now, did you have another phone conversation with a woman after that point on the afternoon of June the 12th?
Yes.
And who was that?
Tracy, Adele,
And whose friend was that?
my friend.
Did you speak to Tracy?
Briefly.
Okay. And then what did you do after you briefly spoke to Tracy?
I handed the phone back to OJ.
And then did he speak to her?
Yes.
Did he make a date with her?
Objection, also speculation.
Did you hear what he said to her?
I didn't hear all the words. No, I tried not to listen.
Did you hear him set up a date to meet her later?
Objection, meeting suggested.
Sustained.
Did you hear him say, what did you hear him tell her?
Well, I know it was long distance. She was calling from another state.
Okay. What did you hear him say about making any plans to get together with her, if any?
I'm not sure of that. I know they talked, and she was interested in business, like being an entrepreneur. And was like they're talking business, so they could have talked about getting together, but I'm not positive.
All right. Now, at some point, did you leave the house that afternoon?
Yes, I did.
What time did you leave the house?
I probably left about 3:30 or 4 to play basketball.
To play basketball?
Yes, I did.
And what time did you get back?
Got back at about 6 o'clock.
Okay. And when you got back, what did you do?
I talked to OJ
Where were you when you talked to him?
in the kitchen nook.
And what time was it then?
It's about 6:37.
And had you been watching a game or something?
Yes.
What game was that?
I was watching that in my room. It was the Houston and the Knicks. That was a playoff game.
So you spoke to him after the game ended, did you?
Yes.
And how was it that you came to speak to him after the game ended?
I think I heard him shout, "Cato."
And when he did that, what did you do?
Hey, talk. I'm sorry.
Did you leave your room?
Yes.
Were you in your room when you heard him call Cato?
Yeah, or I was like on the kind of the patio area. But I was in my room. I could have just gotten out for a bit and heard the name.
So did you go into the house when he called you?
Yes.
Did you talk to him?
Yes.
And what did you talk about?
About the game, about who won the game, the recital, how Sydney was at the recital.
Okay. And what did he say to you about Sydney at the recital?
He said Sydney was great at the recital.
And Sydney
Was
is
great.
his daughter, correct?
Sydney's his daughter.
Okay.
Was at dance recital.
What else did he tell you?
She was great. That Nicole was there,
And
and friends.
that Nicole was there with some friends?
Friends.
What did he tell you about Nicole?
Sustained. Phrase question.
What, if anything, did he tell you about Nicole?
Well, he wanted to talk with Sydney, and I don't think it was the wording, but Nicole wasn't going to give him time to talk to Sydney, and he wanted to talk to his daughter, and I think they went off somewhere.
Who went off somewhere?
Nicole and the kids.
So what did that have to do with Nicole? I'm not clear.
Oh, they all.
Objection.
Sustained. Rephrase the question. It's calling for speculation on the part of this witness.
Okay. What I'm
With the court reporter.
All right, Mr. Kalin, when you get that question back. What did the defendant tell you about Nicole at the recital? What did he tell you about what transpired with Nicole and Sydney at the recital?
Okay, about taking her within, about what she was wearing.
What did what did the defendant tell you transpired, if anything, with regard to himself, Nicole, and Sydney?
Okay. That OJ wanted to spend time with Sydney, and that Nicole wasn't going to give him the time to have with his daughter to talk to her at the recital, so they went off.
Did he tell you whether he did get to spend some time with Sydney anyway?
Short time.
Okay. What, if anything, did he tell you about Nicole herself at the recital?
About her, what outfit that she had on.
And what did he say about that?
That they were wearing, and who she was with, that they were wearing tight outfits, and wondered if they could be grandmas and wear those outfits out.
Did he remark that she was wearing a tight dress that night?
Objection, leave messages.
Sustained.
What remark did he make about, what, if any, remark did he make about what she was wearing that night?
That it was a tight outfit. Yeah.
Did you have some further conversation with him?
Yes.
And what was that?
I was wondering if I could take a jacuzzi.
Okay, and did he give you permission to do that?
Yes.
Did he talk at all about what he was going to be doing that evening?
Yes.
And what did he tell you?
That he was going to take a flight out. He had to pack for a trip to Chicago.
And did he seem pleased about that?
No. That he didn't like red eyes.
Did he give you permission to take the jacuzzi when you asked for it?
Yes.
So what did you do?
I took a jacuzzi.
About what time was that?
About 7:30, I'm guessing. 7:30, 7:45, I took a jacuzzi.
What time did you finish taking the jacuzzi?
About 8:30,
Okay, when you got done with your jacuzzi, what did you do?
I went to my room.
And what did you do there?
I got on the phone.
Who'd you call?
A friend named Susan.
And while you were on the phone, were you interrupted by anything?
I don't know if it was on during it, but yes, OJ came to the room.
And did you have a conversation with him?
Yes.
What was the nature of that conversation?
That I forgot to turn off the jacuzzi.
He brought that to your attention?
Yes.
What did he say about that?
You forgot to turn off the jacuzzi.
And what did you do?
I was gonna, I'll turn it off, but he said he turned it off already, the jets of the jacuzzi.
And when you had that conversation with him, were you still in your room or did you exit your room?
Kind of the doorway, there's a door. I was in the room still. He was on the, out of the door, the outside.
What happened next?
I went back and I made another call.
And who was it that you called at that time?
Another friend, Tom,
And where was he living at that time?
San Diego.
Do you remember exactly what time you called him?
Not the exact time, but around like 9 o'clock.
Okay. Do you know by heart his phone number?
Yes.
For the City Council. I just made sure of that and asked it to be marked Peoples 135. If you would step down, Mr. Kalin.
All right, People's 135.
You can see the, what does this appear to be, sir?
My phone bill.
And can you tell us, there is a portion here highlighted indicating June the 12th. This is military time, 2103, which is 9:03 p.m. There's San Diego, California, area code 619, and the phone number that follows. Do you recognize that phone number?
Yes, that's Tom's number.
Indicates that the call was for 8 minutes. Okay, 9:03, does that comport with your memory and help to refresh your memory exactly what time that call was placed?
Yes.
And up here, does that indicate what your phone number was as of June the 12th, 1994?
It was.
You can have a seat, sir.
All right, you want to shoot for 1492?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor. All right, so you spoke to Tom O'Brien,
Yes.
and as the record indicated, it was about a 7-minute call. After you hung up with Tom O'Brien, what happened next?
I saw OJ again.
Now, were you still on the phone at that time, or had you hung up?
No, I was still on the phone.
So the defendant came out to see you, and you were still talking to Tom?
Yeah, I was talking to Tom, and I hung up during the talking to OJ. I said, "Hey, Tom, I'll call you back."
Okay. And what happened at that point? Did you have a conversation with the defendant?
Yes.
Tell us what the nature of that conversation was.
It was to get some. He had $100 bills and he needed like a 5 for the sky cap, and he asked me if I had some cash.
So after he told you he only had $100 bills and he needed a $5 bill for the sky cap, what did you do?
I gave him 20.
You gave him a 20, was it a $20 bill?
Yes.
And when you gave him the $20 bill, did you put it in his hand?
Yes.
Could you see both his hands?
One hand, sure, but I could see both hands. Yeah.
Did you notice him bleeding or cut on either hand?
No.
And what happened next?
I gave him the money, and he said he was going to get hamburger, and I said, "Can I go?"
You invited yourself to go with him?
Yes.
And what was his response to that?
Sure.
You seem real excited to have you come?
Sustained.
Wouldn't you?
Sustained. Ms. Clark.
Thank you, Your Honor. So did you go with him, sir?
Yes, I did.
What was he wearing at that time?
At the best of my recollection, I thought it was a sweat outfit.
Okay, what color was it?
Dark color.
Could you tell?
It was either blue or dark blue or black.
And the material, what kind of material was it?
I thought it was like a cotton.
Was it long sleeves, sir?
Yes.
Do you remember what kind of shoes he was wearing?
No.
All right, when you left, where did you walk through, sir?
We walked from the sidewalk in the back to the back door, past the bar, to the kitchen nook, to the outside.
What car did you get into?
The Rolls Royce.
And where the Rolls Royce, when you got into it, sir, can you tell us where it was parked?
In the driveway.
And where was it facing? What direction, if you can tell us?
The headlights would be facing the Rockingham Gate.
Photograph that has been shown to council. Has it now be marked People's 136?
136.
Showing you what's been marked as People's 136, sir. Can you tell us if you recognize the car in the foreground of that photograph?
Yes.
And what is it?
That's the Rolls Royce.
Look at the grill.
I'm sorry?
Never mind.
Said, look at the grill. He said.
Look at the grill, it's a Bentley. Could it be a Bentley, sir?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Is that the position in which it was usually parked in the driveway?
Yes.
And the gate that you said it was facing, in that position, what gate would it be facing in this photograph?
The picture's taken from the Rockingham Gate.
And was that the position in which it was parked when you got into it with Mr. Simpson on the date of June the 12th?
Yes.
Who drove the car?
OJ.
And approximately what time was it when you left with him to go get something to eat?
Approximately 9:10.
About 10 minutes after 9, was that?
Yes.
What gate did you exit through?
Rockingham Gate.
As the defendant drove, sir, were you able to see his hands?
Yes.
See any injury to them?
No.
Any bleeding from either hand?
No.
As you exited the Rockingham Gate, did you look to see whether there were any other cars parked on the curb?
No, I didn't look.
All right, while you were in the car on the way to McDonald's, did you have some conversation with the defendant?
Yes.
What was the nature of that conversation?
There was some conversation about the flight.
The red-eye flight?
What an airline. Tired. At one point, I had said, "Oh, you should take a nap." And if there was going to be time, he didn't think there'd be time. And I said, "Well, you should try to take one. You look tired."
Wait, what did you say?
I said, "You should take a nap." I
And
said,
what-
"Do you have time to take a nap?"
And what did the defendant say?
That he probably wouldn't have time to.
He probably would not have time to?
And then I said, "You should try to."
Okay. And did he make any response to that?
No response.
Did you have any conversation that caused you to notice the clock in the car?
Yes,
And what was the nature of that conversation?
that was what directed me to the time, about taking time for a nap.
Okay, so when he
And that
indicated,
was at,
excuse me, sir.
oh, at 26th and San Vicente.
That was when you had gotten to 26 in San Vicente?
Yes.
So when the defendant said he didn't think he had time to take a nap, you looked at the clock?
Yes, and there was a stoplight. I remember a stoplight.
And what time was it when you were at 26 in San Vicente?
That it was like 9:15, 9:18 on the clock of the car. 9:15 and 9:18. It looked like it was right past the.
Okay. Was this a digital clock?
No, it was a numbered clock. Well, I mean,
Okay.
numerals. Like digit would be that too, but you know what I'm saying.
I do.
Analog.
Analog. And so you looked at the clock, you saw it was 9:15 to 9:18, and how long after that was it before you got to McDonald's?
I think 6 minutes or so.
So you got to McDonald's at approximately what time?
T9, like 9:22.
And did you go into the McDonald's or did you do drive-through?
Drive-through.
And that McDonald's is located where?
I'm pretty sure it's on Santa Monica, across from a Carl's Jr. I remember.
That's Santa Monica Boulevard?
Yes.
Now when you drove up to the drive-through window, who paid for the food?
I paid, but OJ gave him the money.
So now you had already given him $20, is that right?
Yes.
So you pulled out another 20 to pay for the food?
Yes.
Did he ask you to do that?
No.
You just did it?
Yes.
All right. When he paid for the food, after paying for it, did he then give you any change back?
Yes.
Did you notice his hands as he paid for the food and gave you your change?
Yes.
Did you see any injury to either hand?
No.
Approximately what time was it when you got your food?
9:25, 9:26.
All right. Now, as the defendant drove home, what was he doing?
Eating the food.
So he ate and drove at the same time?
Yeah, but he finished pretty fast. I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, he ate and drove.
And did you eat at the same time while you were in the car?
No. A few French fries.
So as he ate with one hand, he drove with the other, is that right?
Yes.
Were you able to see his hands?
Yes.
You see any injury to either hand?
No.
About what time was it when you got home?
It's about 9:40.
Do you recall whether you entered the property at 360 Rockingham through the Rockingham or Ashford Gate?
I'm pretty sure it was Ashford Gate.
When he parked the car, can you tell us, sir, in what position he parked the car when you returned?
This same as the picture.
And when you say the picture, you mean People's 136 on the screen now?
Yes.
Do you remember how the gate on Ashford opened when you went inside?
I don't, but it just opened. I wasn't aware. It just wasn't something I looked for.
Did you look to see whether there were any cars parked on the at the curb of the Ashford Gate?
I did look.
Can you tell us, sir, whether the defendant owned any other car besides the Bentley and the Testarossa you'd identified in earlier photographs?
Yes.
And what was that?
A Ford Bronco,
Color?
white.
Can you tell us where he normally parked it?
Usually on Ashford,
By the gate?
on the street.
I mean, near the gate, on the
Yeah,
street?
near the gate.
When you first moved into the property in January of 1994, do you recall seeing it parked in that location from the first time you moved in?
Sustained.
When do you first recall seeing the white Ford Bronco parked near the Ashford gate on the street?
Usually on Ashford.
Yeah.
Yes.
When was the first time you noticed that?
The exact date, I don't know, probably January.
And
It was there.
January of 94?
Of 94.
And is that when you moved into Rockingham?
Yes.
People's 137.
People's 137.
Look at your monitor, sir. Mr. Kalin, you can look at
Yes.
your monitor.
Oh,
You see the car that's shown in People's 137?
yes.
Do you recognize that car?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It's the OJ's Ford white Bronco.
The one that you were discussing earlier?
Yes.
Who drove that car, sir?
OJ and sometimes Gigi to the store.
Anybody else?
No. That I knew of, no.
How often did Gigi ever drive it?
Sometimes she would take it to the store. If she needed to do an errand, she could take it.
Otherwise, it was the defendant?
Yes. Which is.
All right, when you got back to Rockingham, defendant parked the car in the location you indicated on People's 136. Can you tell us, sir, what happened next?
After the McDonald's,
Yes.
I got out of the car, and I had my food, and I walked towards the kitchen, and I thought I was kind of inviting myself, so I turned and I went to my room.
Okay. So you were carrying your food, sir?
Yes.
And you say you walked toward the kitchen. Were you inside the house already?
No.
You walked towards that door?
Towards the door.
And were you intending to go inside the house?
I was thinking about, I was going to do it, and I didn't do it. Yeah, because I thought I should eat in my room. I was going to go into the kitchen area, but I thought I'm just kind of inviting myself. I should probably go to my room.
Okay, so you thought you were going to have your dinner with the defendant inside the house?
Well, yes.
Okay. And when you got to the exterior part of the house in front of the kitchen, you stopped at that point?
Yes.
Your Honor, I photograph, asked that we mark People's 138 has been shown to counsel. Do you see the location you're talking about when you said you walked toward the kitchen area?
Yes.
I'm going to use my the laser light. Ask that you direct it. If you can see the screen, sir. You see the light?
Yes, I do.
Okay, tell it where to go.
Okay, go to the right. To the right more. Up. And go about 2 inches to the right. And that's the door.
All right, that location right there?
Yes.
Can we mark that with the telestrator? Okay, I'm going to ask that that area be marked with the telestrator. Make sure it's correct. Is that right?
Correct. Yes, that's the door.
Thank you. Yes, it is to be marked People's 138A.
138A.
Thank you, Your Honor. When you got to that location, what did you do?
When I got to the door,
Yes.
I turned.
Okay, and what did you
Good.
see?
OJ
And where was he?
at the driver's side door of the Rolls.
Did you say anything to him?
No.
What did you do?
I looked and said, oh, I'll eat in my room.
And what did you do then?
I took off to my room to eat.
Did he
through
make
the path. Through the path to my room.
Did he make any response to you when you said, I'll eat in my room?
Oh, no, that was in my mind. I'll eat in my room.
You didn't say that out
No,
loud?
no, in my head I was going, I'll eat in my room.
Okay.
Sorry.
Did he say anything to you?
No.
Did you say anything to him?
No.
So after the car was parked and you got out and walked to the kitchen door, did you have any conversation with Mr. Simpson?
No.
And he said nothing to you?
No.
Okay, when you say you walked through that path, you're talking about the path, describe for us the path you're talking about.
Part of it's on the picture. Mm-hmm. That's the driveway. You can see where the path goes, and it comes around by the hedges here that you can barely see it in the shot, but that's the path.
Possessed number 139, Your Honor, photograph from Shelby Council. Can you see the beginning of the path in this photograph, sir?
Yes.
Can you indicate to us where it is?
Yeah, right where the right angle is, right there's the path.
I'm going to ask that it be marked with the telestrator.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes, that's the path.
People's 139A?
139A.
Thank you. You print. What happened next?
Okay, so I took the food and I walked on the path to my room. And I started eating the food and I made a phone call.
Now, did you make that phone call immediately when you got back to your room, or did you do a couple things first? Do you
It's
remember?
pretty much right away I did. I made it, within a minute, I think. It was pretty quick. Pretty sure.
So after you walked back to your room, you entered within a minute, you made a phone call?
Yeah.
Who did you call?
I called Tom again.
The same Tom that you called earlier before you left for McDonald's?
Right, because I told him I'd call him back, and I called him back.
And do you recall exactly what time it was that you called him?
It was about after we got back, 9:40, 9:45.
And would it refresh your recollection as to the exact time that you called him? You saw your phone bill.
Yes.
I'm going to show you first
Okay. Okay.
that second entry.
Yes.
All right. Let's look at that for a minute. Okay, you already described the first entry on June the 12th here at 9:03, that first call you made to Tom in San Diego. You see below that on June the 12th at 9:37, indicated in military time as 21:37. The 9:37 p.m., a call to San Diego, area code 619.
Yes.
And again, does that appear to be the same phone number that you called some minutes earlier that night?
Yes.
And that call lasted for this second call lasted for approximately 7 minutes? Does that comport with your memory of the time and the duration of the call you made to Tom?
Yes.
Now, that call that you made at 9:37, how long was that made after you saw the defendant standing at his car?
I pretty quickly, because I was eating my food, I think, on the phone, so right after. Right after within a minute or two.
A minute to 2 minutes? Say yes?
Yes, oh, it's yes.
All right, for the record, the witness and counsel were referring to the board People's 135.
Thank you, Your Honor. Perhaps now if I could let the jury see it. Thanks, Dana. After you completed that phone call to Tom, approximately 9:44 then, what happened next?
I wanted to type up some like resumes, and there's an office area with a typewriter.
That office area that you described was a part of the area you lived in?
Yes.
And what did you do in that regard?
Well, there's a typewriter, and I got the paper, and I plugged it in, and it made a noise, but it wasn't working, so I tried other outlets, and then it wasn't making a noise anymore, and I tried outlet after outlet, and I kind of gave up.
Okay, and how long period of time did you do that?
Well, after finding everything, about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay. So can you tell us approximately what time it was when you gave up on the typewriter?
Like about 10 or so.
And what did you do then?
I made a phone call.
And what phone call, who'd you call?
Another friend, Rachel.
Rachel what?
Rachel Ferrara.
What time was it approximately when you placed that call, sir?
About like 10:10.
Now, at the time you made that call to Rachel Ferrara, can you tell us, was the lights on in your bedroom?
In my bedroom?
Yes.
Yes.
There is a, you indicated there's a bathroom that's attached as part of your living quarters, right?
Yes.
Show you a photograph that's been previously marked as People's 129B.
Two, please.
Do you see the area that you earlier indicated was the bathroom?
Yes, I do.
Does that area have a window?
Yes, it does.
And where does that window face?
South.
South?
It would face the back area to the neighbors.
And when you say south, is there a pathway that runs alongside that wall?
Yes.
And that south pathway, is that the border or the end of the property?
Yes.
To the south of that walkway, is there any kind of fence?
Yes.
And what kind of fence?
I'm pretty sure it's iron fence.
I'll show you a photograph that's been previously marked as 68A. Okay, do you recognize the location shown there?
Yes.
Tell us what it is.
Okay, that would be the back of my room, and that's the neighbor's yard on the right of the fence, and that's the pathway, the walkway.
You see something jutting out over the walkway, sir? That jutting out of the wall?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
That's an air conditioner
And where does the front of that air conditioner go?
in my room.
Now, when you say that's the wall of the outside wall of your room, I'm going to ask that. Can you go on Front Street? I'm going to ask you to direct the arrow to point to what wall you're talking about.
Okay, it's real dark from where I'm sitting. I can't, but it looks like it's the pathway's there. I can tell that the arrow's on the wall. Okay, keep.
Tell the arrow. Tell the arrow
To go where? To the air conditioner, or
to
just
go
to the
to
wall?
your wall. Show your
Okay,
wall.
just if you go right, you're on. Okay, go to the air conditioner with the arrow. Okay, that's the wall. You're on the wall.
Okay. And where does your wall end?
Well, I can't tell from that shot where it ends. There's an office that leads to the main house.
Okay. But that is the wall that is the outside of your room, sir?
Yes, it is.
Could that be 68B? 68B1.
Noted.
A1.
A1.
Excuse me, People's 68A1. Thank you.
Now that wall, sir, that the arrow is pointing to, is that wall the outside of the wall that your bed would be placed against?
Yes.
Now, we were talking earlier about the window that's inside the bathroom of your residence. Can you see out, when you look out that window, sir, are you able to see the area that would be to the right of the air conditioner of the south pathway?
Not really.
How much of a view of the south pathway can you get from that bathroom window?
You can see out just in front of you.
So you can't see to the right or the left?
Well, I guess if you wanted to like stick your head or something out, but the window itself you can't. It's
I'm sorry?
a turn crank handle, and the window goes like that. So you can't if it turns, you can't really see to the right because it blocks things.
Okay. So the window opens out from left to right?
Yeah, it does.
And can you crank it all the way to the right so that it would go flush against the
I don't
house?
think so. I don't think you can.
While you were talking to Rachel on the phone, where were you in your room?
I was leaning against the bed.
Okay, look at your monitor, sir. When you say you were leaning against the bed,
Okay, you see the bed?
yes,
There's the headboard.
yes.
Okay, right there, kind of. So take the arrow, go straight ahead. Right there.
Was your back up against that headboard?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Clark, do you have much more with this exhibit? I need to change court reporters.
I think I do. So,
All right,
could this be marked People's 129B1, Your Honor?
129B1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our morning recess. Please remember my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves, form any opinions about the case. Don't allow anybody to communicate with you. Do not conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. Mr. Kalin, this is a 15-minute recess. You're ordered to return in 15 minutes. All right, we'll stand in recess. Thank you. Are you going to stay with us?
No, I just need 1 second.
Run the jail,
No, the sheriff is overcrowded these days. How's your water supply? Good. Are we ready?
Yes,
All right, David McNair, let's have the jurors, please. Now, Mr. Brian Kalin is on the witness stand under direct examination by Ms. Clark. Good morning again, Mr. Kalin.
Morning.
You're reminded you're still under oath, sir. Ms. Clark, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, you indicated that you placed a phone call to Rachel Ferrara at about 10:10 p.m.,
Yes.
and that during that phone call, you were seated on the bed with your back up against that headboard.
Yes.
During that phone call, sir, did something unusual occur?
Yes.
And what was that?
I heard a thumping noise.
How many thumps did you hear?
Objection. Reading.
Overruled.
Yes.
3.
Can you demonstrate for us how loud it was?
Somewhat, yes.
Go ahead.
Here.
Yeah, go ahead. And where did that noise seem to be coming from?
From the back of the wall.
From behind you where
From-
you were sitting?
Right, from behind the wall, from where I was sitting.
Did you notice anything occur in your room as a result of those thumps on the wall?
Yes.
What?
There's a picture that moved.
And where is that picture, sir?
It's not in the shot.
Can you tell us, give us some idea?
Do you want me the arrow to move?
No, that arrow can stay there.
Okay, it would be, see this next to the bed, the dresser?
Yes.
If you would go straight above it, by the headboard, it's right above that, on the,
All right, let me show a photograph to counsel for a moment. I have a photograph that shows the counsel next in order Peoples 140.
Peoples 140.
Showing you People's 140, sir. Can you please look at your monitor?
yes.
Can you tell us if you see the location where the picture was?
Yeah, the picture's right there. It's,
Was that the picture that was on your wall on the night of June the 12th?
I think that's the same picture.
And was it in that location?
Yes.
Okay, and for the record, the witness is gesturing there's only one picture on his bedroom wall.
Correct.
And
What happened with that picture when the thumps occurred?
the picture tilted from would be right to left. That
The picture moved?
yes, it did.
At that point that you heard the thumps on the wall, sir, approximately how long had you been on the phone with Rachel Ferrara?
About a half hour.
And so approximately what time was it when you heard the thumps on the wall?
At about 10:40.
Is that exact? 10:40?
Well, what I remember, I didn't look at the clock, but about 10:40.
Do you recall previously testifying that it was 10:40 to 10:45?
Yes.
And is that correct?
Yes.
So at approximately 10:40 to 10:45, excuse me, sir, when you heard the thumps and you saw the picture move, what did you do?
Well, I was on the phone still, and I was talking to Rachel, and I said to Rachel, I asked her, I said, do we just have an earthquake?
Did those thumps alarm you, sir?
After she said we didn't have one, yes.
And why were you alarmed?
Well, if it wasn't that, then I thought there was, someone back there.
Someone back there, and where would there be?
There's behind the wall on the
And-
path that we showed before.
And that path that we've shown before, that's the south pathway that runs along the outside of your exterior wall?
Yes.
68A.
Is that the pathway you're referring to?
Yes, it is.
That you thought someone was on when you heard the thumps?
Yes.
Now, if you would, sir, I'll go back to the one here. Air conditioner you've earlier identified, sir,
Yes, I do.
at the back of the one that goes into your room? Showing you people's 129B. Can you tell us where on this photograph your air conditioner is?
Right in front of that lamp, on the right side of the bed.
For the record, the witness is pointing to a standing lamp that would be, as you face the bed, to the left side of the bed, and it's that grated area right above the lamp.
Yes, it is.
Where in relationship to that air conditioner did you hear the sound of the thumps?
The thumps came from behind the wall. Exactly where, I don't know, but I know it was behind the wall, within a few feet of the air conditioner.
Okay. And is that is that wall covering? Is that wood paneling or is that wallpaper?
That's wood.
All right. When Rachel told you that it was not an earthquake, you became alarmed, thinking someone was back there. What happened next?
Well, I was on the phone with her and I told her that I was going to check on it.
And how long did you speak to her after you heard the thumps on the wall?
2 to 3 minutes.
And when you said you were going to go and check on it, what did you intend to do?
Well, see the dresser right there next to the bed? On the top drawer, I have like a little flashlight. I was going to take that light and look behind there.
Look behind where?
To the path.
The path that you've earlier identified?
Yes.
How did you feel about going back there onto that little pathway?
Scared?
Why?
Because there could be someone back there, and I just had a little flashlight.
Okay. And what was that pathway like?
Oh, it's dark, and there's leaves. It's very narrow.
How well lit it was? You said it was dark?
Yes.
And what was the size of that flashlight you had?
It's this size. It was a little, thicker around, but it was about that same length.
Okay. For the record, the witness is holding up a pen.
Yes.
All right. You did not go to look through the bathroom window.
No.
Your intention was to go around to that south pathway?
Yes.
Did it even occur to you to look through the bathroom window?
Overruled.
You can answer.
No, it never did.
All right. So you told Rachel that you were going to go back there and check out the noise.
Yes.
And what did you do next?
Okay, I hung up the phone, and I got the flashlight, and I walked the pathway, the front pathway, out of my front door to the driveway.
Okay. Now, when you went to the driveway, you said you took a pathway, and that pathway led you through what?
You go by the pool, and when you go by the pool, you go to the side of the house, the side that would face Ashford, and then you go and you hit the driveway.
I ask you to indicate on People 66 the path that you took
Okay.
from your room after you heard the thumps.
All right, you can step down the scale.
All right. If you would, please, on People 66, please indicate the path that you took.
Okay. I came out of the doors, steps up, there, and this is the path.
For the record, the witness is tracing the pathway that goes through the lawn area along Ashford Street.
Yes, now to the driveway.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, you indicated that you heard the thumps at 9:40 to 9:45.
Not at that time, I was 10.
I'm sorry, 10:40 to 10:45. Thank you, sir. And you remained on the phone with Rachel Ferrara for another 2 to 3 minutes.
Yes.
So approximately what time was it that you exited your room to go out to the pathway?
So it was about 2 or 3 minutes after that time, 10:43, 10:44.
And when you went out to the pathway, where you went out on the lawn area?
Yeah, but I stayed on this path.
All right. And what did you see when you were on that path?
On this path?
Yes.
Nothing. I didn't see anything until I got to the driveway.
When you got to the driveway area where the path meets the driveway?
Yes.
What did you see?
I saw a limousine.
And where was that limousine?
It was right behind the gate on Ashford.
Was it facing into that Ashford gate?
Yes.
Could you see whether anyone was inside it?
No.
Did you go to open the gate for the limousine driver?
No.
You can take your seat from. Now, can you tell us, sir, whether,
Excuse me, Ms. Clark, do we need the poster?
yes, we're going to use it again very shortly.
Okay.
Now, can you tell us, sir, whether or not the headlights of that limousine were on?
I don't think they were on.
So was it dark in that area?
Yes.
And can you tell us, sir, whether the driveway was dark?
Yes, there's just there's little lights barely that are very dim. I think 1 or 2 of those are on by the driveway, but dark.
Where on the driveway are those lights? You can show us if you.
I think I remember they were like here, maybe here.
Okay. You want to do that one more time so
Sure.
council can see you?
I think I remember that they were like here, left light, here, maybe there.
For the record, the witness has pointed to the edge of the driveway. That would be the left border of the driveway, just below the tree over which is written gate control box, and then below that, to the left of the other tree, on that same edge of the driveway, the left edge. And go ahead, you can sit down. So you indicated those are dim lights,
Yes.
and the driveway was basically in darkness.
Yes.
And you indicated you did not let the limousine driver in.
No.
Why not?
I thought everything was taken care of. I didn't think of letting him in because he could get a buzz in.
What do you mean you thought it was taken care of?
Well, I have my phone doesn't ring to the gate, so I thought if anything the limo guy would know what to do, what was going on. I didn't know. I thought he was there.
Did you think the defendant was going to let him in?
Yes.
Sustain. Here's the disregard.
I'm asking for his state of mind, Your Honor, as to
I
why he
understand.
didn't.
Calls for speculation. Did he think that this defendant was going to do something? That's calling for speculation. Proceed.
Can you explain to us why you did not let the limo driver in? What were you thinking about? What led you not to let him in?
Because I thought someone had talked to him, and that's why he was out there. There's a reason that he was waiting there. I didn't, I didn't know why he wasn't in, but I didn't question it.
Did you expect? What were you expecting?
Objection.
Goes to his subsequent conduct. So you can ask.
Oh, there's a phone, so if there was a limo driver, the gate would open up. He'd be buzzed in.
Did you think the defendant was home?
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Also speculation.
Overruled. Did you
Answer.
think-
Yes.
Next question.
Now, approximately what time was it when you think you saw the limo driver? No, excuse me, the limousine parked at the Ashford gate?
About 10:50.
Okay. When you passed by the back of the house to go out onto that lawn area and take that path down to the driveway, did you notice whether there were any lights on in the house?
I thought the lights were on upstairs and not down, if I remember.
Did it seem to be dark downstairs?
Yes.
And
From
you
what
thought
my recollection, it was dark.
And you thought there was a light on upstairs?
Yes.
Let me back up for a minute. You indicated that you heard the thumps on the wall at approximately 10:40 to 10:45. Before hearing the thumps, you were talking on the phone to Rachel?
Yes.
After hearing the thumps, were you still talking on the phone to Rachel?
Yes.
Were you listening to hear footsteps at either time?
I did not.
Do you know whether you're able to hear footsteps from inside your room if someone's walking on the south pathway?
I don't think so.
When you saw,
Do we need 66 anymore?
we do, right now.
All right.
You saw the limousine parked at the Ashford gate.
Yes, I did.
You did not let the limo driver in. Where did you go? What did you do?
I checked on the noise.
Can you show us on this
Come
People
down.
66 what you did?
Okay, so I had the flashlight, and it was here, so I started walking this way, and I had the light on, and I went. There's a gate here. That's I can pick up the gate. You can pick it up. It's not working. So I kind of leaned it against the tree, and I went down just a bit. And the pen light, the light was pretty dim. Looked a little bit, and then I came back.
Okay. For the record, the witness has indicated he walked south on the driveway over to the garage area, made a left at the corner of the garage, and walked in on that south pathway a short distance.
Yes.
Okay, as far as you got on that south pathway, sir, were you able to see the area, the ground area around the air conditioner in your room? And why did you stop on the pathway where you did?
Just did. I couldn't see. I just stopped.
Why?
I was scared, but that's it.
You were scared? Okay. And so you backed out again?
Yes, I did.
Where did you go then?
I went back out,
Okay.
and the limo was still there. I thought maybe I should let this guy in. So I went to the gate control box. There's a button, pressed, and it opens up.
So you walked down the driveway, around the garage to the south pathway, came back out, walked back up the driveway, and the limousine was still outside the Ashford gate.
Yes.
When you said you went to the gate control box, you pointed to an area on the diagram, People 66. Is that where it's indicated by that tree?
Yes.
And then did the gate open?
Yes, it did.
And what happened next?
Okay, the gate opened, and he drove in. And his dog told me to watch it. And Chachi, the dog, went here. And the limo driver parked here.
All right, Chachi the dog, who's that?
Chachi's a chow,
What color?
black,
And who does he belong to?
to OJ.
And when the limo driver pulled up, where was Chachi?
Chachi was kind of, it was like laying right here, sort of by the box that he could have been hit. So I said, Chachi, move.
So when the limo driver pulled in, Chachi was still lying there on the driveway by the gate control box?
Yes.
And you had to get him to move?
Yes.
Did he bark?
No.
Did he get excited?
No.
Where did you put him?
Well, he goes in the spot he lays here.
And for the record, the witness is indicating the corner where of grass where the driveway meets the path going through the Ashford side of the lawn. And where did the limo driver go?
Right here.
To the front door area?
Yes.
Okay, for the record, the witness is pointing to the area of the driveway in front of the entrance. And what happened next?
Okay. The limo driver got out of the car. Pretty sure I said hello. And the exact dialogue, I don't know. It was
Okay, wait, why don't you take your seat, sir?
All right, Clark, do we need 66?
We will again, but I'll take it down for now.
All right. If you want to just leave it there down so that I can see the jury and counsel can see.
All right, when you went around the, when you went around the south pathway, what was the, you said you went down the driveway, around the garage to that south pathway. Why did you do that?
why did I do it?
Yeah,
I was going to investigate that noise.
the thumps?
Yes.
All right, when the limo driver got out of the car, did you have a conversation with him?
Yes.
What did you say?
Well, I know I asked him about the if we had an earthquake, and he said no, not that I'm aware of. I've been sitting there, and I didn't feel anything move. And he had mentioned that he was coming up from Redondo, and I don't know if what I remember about if I mentioned about oversleeping or not. I said, did OJ oversleep, or if he said it, that he overslept, but that came up. And I said, oh, he's got a flight to catch. And
You were worried that he was going to be late or what?
yeah, there's going to miss a flight.
Okay. Now, at that particular point in time, what were you thinking about in terms of the thumps? Was that still in your mind?
Oh, yes.
How were you feeling about that?
Well, I was going to check on it again, and I felt better that there's someone there.
Were you still afraid or nervous or excited about that?
Yes, it was still there, but driver was there. I mean, I was telling him about the noise, that I was going to check it on it again. I told him I heard this noise and I heard this thump, and I'm going to just go back there and check again.
All right. And so after you told him about that, what did you do?
Well, I know that at one point also the golf bag was out in the front. I loaded that for him in the trunk, and then I think I checked on the noise.
When you say there was a golf bag out front, where was it?
The driveway where he parked, right in front of the entrance. I don't want to lift it up again, but it's right in front. I'll point it out.
Was it in front of the front door?
In front, about 10 feet in front of the front door, right before the driveway would start up again.
Where the driveway meets the,
The grass and the entrance of the. I'll have to point it.
go ahead.
The driveway here, there's like seats here.
Right.
Be right here.
All right. In between the seats?
In between the seats, right, laying the same way the line.
Okay, so what did you do with those golf bags after you let the limo driver in?
Well, there's one golf bag,
One golf bag.
and I put it in the trunk.
All right. And then what did you do?
And then I think I checked on that noise.
And could you show us where you went?
Okay, I went from here again,
Okay, witness is indicating south on the driveway.
south of the driveway, and I said, I told him about the noise. I said, then I tried to get Chachi to come with me, and I said, Chachi, come, and he didn't. So that was my reaction too. So I went back there.
Okay. And you went down by the garage to the same area again? Is that yes?
Yes, but I went a little further.
Okay. Can you show us, sir, how far you went this time?
Okay, so the first gate is here.
Indicating,
Kind of right here. There's a tree that leans up against sort of, and it's right there.
okay, there's a portion on this diagram where the garage on the south side of it is extended when you first hit the garage area, and the witness is indicating the corner, the rightmost corner of that outcropping.
Right.
Okay, is that where the first gate is?
That's the first gate.
Okay, did you go through it?
Yes. This time I went a little bit further and there's a second gate, but I didn't go beyond that.
You went up to the second gate?
I went up to about where the podium is, the second gate with the flashlight.
Okay.
About
You-
3 feet from the second gate.
3 feet behind the second gate, you stopped?
Yes.
And where would that be on the diagram?
Well, is this the entire garage? And this is the... I guess the second gate would be about here.
For the record, the witness is indicating the area where the middle yellow arrow is. Okay, and
To the
you,
left.
yes, it'd be as you face the diagram, to the right of the arrow marked BK. And you stopped 3 feet before that?
Yeah, about 3 feet in front of it. Shine the light.
And what were you able to see?
Well, it was dark. I really didn't see much. The beam was, I could see up to about dark copper right there.
Okay, for the record, the witness is indicating 10 feet. Giving him 8.
It's less than 10 feet, but
8?
seven.
You okay?
That's 7 feet. That's
Can we compromise?
a compromise.
8?
7, 8 feet.
Okay. For the record, the witness indicated approximately 7 to 8 feet in distance.
Right.
And so were you able to see the area of the walkway that was right behind your room?
No.
Was that in darkness?
Yes.
And you stopped at that point?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Well, I figured I'd just give up. I didn't want to investigate anymore.
Why not?
I just did. I don't know. I wasn't really. I was scared, but not scared. And then limo driver's there, and I just ended up going back.
Were you still afraid of what might be back there?
Well, I wanted to still know what was back there. I was going to investigate more, but I stopped there, and I was kind of like this lousy flashlight, and my mind was going to see if we had a better flashlight.
Okay.
I was going to go up to the driver to talk to him.
So did you turn back at that point?
I did.
Where did you go?
Back to the front. Back, turn around to the front of the driveway.
And you went where?
I went to the limo.
Now, on your way back to the limo, did anything draw your attention?
Yes.
What?
I saw there was like a knapsack that was in the driveway where the Rolls Royce was parked.
Can you show us where you saw that?
Well, this is the spot of the Rolls Royce.
For the record, the witness has indicated the southernmost portion of the driveway that leads out to Rockingham, where there's an indentation.
Yes,
That's where the Rolls Royce would be parked?
that's where they parked. Yeah, he parked right here.
And where did you see this knapsack?
It was on the right back tail light on the bottom, right where the grass kind of would start up.
I don't think the jury is able to see. Okay. Could you indicate again where you saw that knapsack?
It was kind of like right here on the grass and cement and the driveway.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to ask, can we get those arrows?
I got arrows and I got dots.
How about a dot?
What color dot?
What color was the knapsack, sir?
I thought it was black and with brown leather to it.
Best I can do is blue.
Oh, well.
But-
Oh, okay, red. Thank you.
Take them all.
Why don't you put the dot on the diagram where you recall seeing the knapsack?
This diagram it would be like right there.
Was it actually, sir, on the driveway rather than the grass?
Yeah. Now, with this drawing, it was closer. Here's the Rolls Royce, and the light would be out, but it was sticking out. This drawing is kind of nothing's exact, but it was on the grass part of it, but more on the cement.
And how big was that knapsack?
It was like a college knapsack, I thought.
Like the size of a book bag?
A little, kind of like that. The briefcase or whatever that case is there.
I don't want to mark the detective's bag, but show the jury, so. Does it seem to be about the size of this bag?
Yeah.
Okay, let's describe this bag. Appears to be about 1.5 feet in length and about 1 foot high. It's black and has black straps. But it seemed to be about, did it look like?
design, but that size.
But that size.
That's what I remember.
Had you ever seen that bag before?
No.
And then where did you go, sir?
Okay, then I went back I was here with the driver, and OJ was outside too, and so I told him about the noise also.
Why don't you take your seat?
Ms. Clark.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let me ask you something, sir. Have you ever heard Chachi bark?
I've heard him bark.
And when?
When the date?
No? What was the event? You circled it on your calendar or what?
I think when Cato, the other dog, not this dog, no, Cato, the other dog, was over, if they play and Cato would start biting him and go, "Arr," and do that.
Did you ever see him bark at strangers?
I didn't see too many strangers there, so he pretty much was friendly.
Now, when you say Cato, the other dog, who are you referring to?
It's Akita, an Akita dog.
Belonging to?
To OJ, the kids.
And do you know whether the Akita named Cato went to live with Nicole at some point?
Yeah, it was living over on Bundy, and it would come over also. It was sometimes there, but mostly on Bundy.
Did it come over by itself to Rockingham, or did Nicole bring it?
It drove. No, it would come over with Nicole, the kids, and it would be over there sometimes, but mostly on Bundy.
Okay, that second gate that you indicated on the south pathway, sir, is that ever kept locked?
The second gate in the back?
Right, on the south
No.
pathway.
No.
Okay.
Not that I remember. It was
So
open.
if you'd wanted to go through it that night, could you have opened it?
Yes.
And why was it that you were willing to go back a second time to that south pathway?
I guess just a little bit safer, knowing there's a limo driver, and I just did it. I just went back there. I thought I was being, doing a good thing if I found a prowler or something.
You indicated that the Akita named Cato belonged to the defendant. Did
I don't know who it belonged to. I think it was like Nicole's, the kids, and OJ's.
who bought it?
I don't know who bought it. I think maybe OJ bought it.
Okay. Did it stay at Rockingham sometimes?
Yes.
Did you see the defendant play with that dog?
Yeah, sometimes.
How often would you see it at
Not very often, but it was there, but more at the Bundy with Sydney and Justin. So I mean, I can't. It's hard to put a time frame. I mean, I don't know exactly how much the difference in time would be.
But you saw it at Rockingham and
It had been at Rockingham sometimes.
with the children?
Yes, the children played, and sometimes it was there when the children weren't there too.
And that dog, when the children spent the night at Rockingham, did it spend the night also?
Yeah, I'd say sometimes, yeah.
All right, that knapsack that you indicated you saw, that you thought was black?
It was black, and I thought I remember seeing like a little brown leather patch.
Okay. Was that bag, that knapsack, was it in a lit area, brightly lit, or was it in a dark area?
It was, I think it was near one of the dimmer lights, I thought, but it was still in a dark area. It was dark on that, it was at nighttime, so. But it was a dark color.
Now, when you first came out that pathway, for the first time, when you left your room for the first time to go and investigate the source of the thumps,
Yes.
you came out on the Ashford side lawn. What were you thinking?
The first time coming out of the room and getting to the first time coming through Ashford and then seeing the limo.
Mm-hmm.
What was I thinking as far as the noise?
Right.
I thought it could be someone.
Okay. And was your mind occupied with that?
Yes.
Were you looking down the driveway area when you saw the limo? Did you look down the driveway area
I probably did.
constantly, or did at some point you look at the limo? Did you look around you?
Oh, yeah, I looked around.
Excuse me, Ms. Clark, we're going to need this diagram again.
Yes.
We didn't see.
I heard the comment. And I heard the other comments as well. All right, why don't we move that until you're going to need it? It's blocking council view of the jury. All right, I think you can leave that there. Yeah.
All right, when you got back to the car after going out the second time to the south pathway, said you went back towards the limo.
Can you say the question again?
After you let the limo driver into the property, you had conversation with him. You indicated you went back around the garage to the south pathway again,
Yes.
and you stopped 3 feet before the second gate.
About,
Recall
yes.
that? And then you said you walked back out around the garage, you saw that dark knapsack. Then what did you do?
Well, there's three of us outside now. So
You saw the defendant?
okay, so all three of us, yes, OJ, myself, and the driver.
Where was he?
Just like outside on the driveway.
Okay.
And I think the door was open. The front door I thought was open.
Okay. Did you have a conversation with the defendant when you saw him there?
Yes.
What did you say?
Well, I was telling him about this noise I heard. I said, OJ, I heard this noise, and I thought it was an earthquake, and I thought maybe someone's back there, and I told him I was going to investigate it, and I had a lousy flashlight.
And then what?
And so I asked the limo driver, I said, do you have a better flashlight? And he checked, and he looked around, he didn't. And then I said, OJ, do we have a better flashlight? And when I told him about the noise, he was going to take one way, I was going to go another way. But that's when I said, well, this is a lousy flashlight, we need another one. And so he was going to go inside and check.
And then what happened next?
Okay, so went inside the house. I followed behind, and towards the kitchen area, and I was kind of in the front door entrance behind him, but not yet in the kitchen. And it was I didn't look, but he said it was that late, so we didn't have time, and we didn't get the flashlight, so he had to catch the flight.
Now, at some point after you came back from your second trip to the South Pathway, after that point, did you help to load bags into the car?
Yeah, I put the golf bag in already, and I was going to go get the knapsack to put in.
Okay, you said the knapsack. Is that the dark knapsack that you saw on the driveway area where you indicated the red dot behind the Rolls Royce?
Yes.
And did you say something to Mr. Simpson about that dark knapsack?
That I was going to get it.
You offered to get it?
Yeah,
And what was his response?
he'll get it.
What did he say?
I'll get it.
And then what did he do?
I didn't pay attention. I think he got it.
Did he walk in that direction?
Yes.
In the direction of where the knapsack
Of-
was?
Yes.
All right, what happened next? After you offered to get the knapsack, he refused, walked towards it. What did you do?
Sustain. Rephrase the question, please.
Just
Rephrase
regarding
the
what?
question.
You saw the defendant walk towards the knapsack. What did you do?
Okay, I was still concerned about a flashlight. I think that's when the conversation of the flashlight came in. And at the limo driver was looking, and I was seeing if he's finding a flashlight.
Then what?
Okay, and then that's when I was going to have myself and OJ look behind there, and then he had to catch his flight. So I mentioned about the kitchen.
Did you at some point walk into the house with the defendant?
Yes,
And at what point was that?
right before leaving,
And
With
for
a-
what purpose did you walk into the house with him?
because we were in search of a flashlight.
Where did you go inside the house?
I walked in the front entrance, and when you walk in about 5 feet or so, you can make a right and go into the kitchen. So I got in as far as like a foot maybe in the kitchen. He was in the kitchen, and
You were in the kitchen, and where was the defendant?
well, I had a foot. I was kind of in the hallway still, kitchen, and he was about 6 or 7 feet in front.
He was inside the kitchen?
Yes.
What happened next?
He noticed the time and had to catch the flight.
What did he say?
Is that the time? I said, you got to catch your flight.
And then what?
He got in the limo. And, went back out of the kitchen, back, and was going to hop in the limo to the airport.
When you walked into the house with him, did you walk through the foyer area?
Into the foyer. Yes, that's where I stayed. Maybe I wasn't in the kitchen area. You know the area. It's there, and I stopped, and then he turned around because we didn't have time, and then he had to catch the flight.
Okay, did you pause and talk to him in the foyer area for a moment?
Yes.
And when you paused and talked to him in the foyer area of the house, what were you talking about?
He was leaving, and there's an alarm, and he was asking me to set the alarm.
Had he ever asked you to set the alarm for him before?
No,
Did you know the code to set the alarm?
no,
Did you want to set the alarm?
no.
Why not?
It's just another responsibility that I didn't want to know the alarm code.
And what did you say when he asked you to set the alarm?
I don't know the code.
And what was the defendant's response?
I think he was going to set it. He was going to set the alarm.
Did he tell you that? Or
Yeah, I think it was that he would said I was kind of understanding because I didn't get the code, but I didn't pay attention as far as if he said it or not.
and you had that conversation while you were standing with him in the foyer?
In the foyer, yeah. Yes.
And did you happen to notice whether he's had any injury to either hand at that time?
I didn't notice. No,
You did not notice?
did not.
Well, Your Honor.
Chief, please.
Showing you People's 112, sir. Can you tell us if you recognize that location?
That's the foyer.
And that's the area where you stood and talked to him about the alarm
Yeah.
control?
Yes,
And you did not notice any injury to his hand?
I did not.
Overruled.
After you had the conversation about the alarm control panel, what happened next?
He got in the limo to catch the flight.
Approximately what time was it when he did that?
I thought it was like 11:15.
Can you, sir, estimate for us about how much time you spent with the defendant after the limo driver arrived?
After the limo driver arrived, when I first saw him,
Right, from the time you first saw him to the time he left for the airport.
I think it was about 5 minutes.
And through which gate did the limo driver exit?
Rockingham.
And how did he get out?
There's a button. I press it for him, and it opens the gate.
Where is that button located, sir?
It would be, it's on the driveway. There's to the left, there's a button that you can press. I mean, I can show you.
On the diagram?
I can just point it right here from here. There's it's right there.
And for the record, the witness is pointing to the location that is designated on the diagram as gate control box on the Rockingham gate side.
Yes.
Can you tell us, sir, when that gate closes, does it lock automatically?
Pretty sure it locks, yes.
Okay. I'm talking about the Rockingham gate.
Yes.
How do you get in from the outside?
Of the Rockingham gate,
Yes.
you can use a key.
And did you have that key?
Yes.
As for the Ashford gate, can you tell us how that gate operated?
There's an intercom that can be buzzed in from inside. And there's also a hinge that you can open it up automatically by, if you adjust the hinge the right way, you can push it open and get in.
Okay. So can you get in through the Ashford Street side without a key?
Yes.
Can you get in through the Ashford Street gate without somebody buzzing you in?
Yes.
All right, after the defendant left in the limo, what did you do? You said, I think you indicated did you push the
gate
button on the
control.
gate to close it?
Yes, I did.
On the Rockingham gate?
Yes.
What happened next?
So gate open, waved goodbye, and they drove off. And then I started going back towards my room. And then I saw the red light, or it was a green light on the alarm that it wasn't set.
Where did
So-
you see that?
There's a alarm box, where you set the code. And
Where?
it's in the front door, by the front door.
Outside?
Yeah, outside.
Next to the front door, on the outside of the front door?
To the left.
And that light was green. What did that mean
Yeah.
to you?
That it was open.
That the alarm was not on?
Yes.
And what did you do about that?
Nothing. I went back to my room.
How did you go back to your room? Did you go through the house?
No, I went to the pathway, same way that I came out from.
Right.
Well, I know there's nothing that Mr. Kalen's told me that Mr. Shapiro hasn't heard on his own.
All right, enough, counsel, enough of that. All right, anything we need to discuss before we invite the jurors to join us? All right, Deputy McNair, let's have the jury, please. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let the record reflect that the jury has now rejoined us, that Mr. Brian Kalen is again on the witness stand under direct examination by Ms. Clark. Good afternoon, Mr. Kalen.
Good afternoon.
You're reminded you were still under oath, sir. Ms. Clark, you may resume with your direct examination.
Good afternoon. I think where we left off, Mr. Kalen, is that the defendant left in a limousine at about 11:15, and you indicated that you went back to your room. Is that right?
Yes.
And when you went back to your room, sir, what did you do?
Okay, I followed the path to my room, and when I was in my room, and I returned my call to Rachel.
Okay. What do you mean you returned your call to Rachel?
Because I had said that I was going to call her back. I was going to go outside. I said, I'll call you back within 10 minutes, I said.
When you told her that was, you had told her you were going to call her back within 10 minutes, that was when you'd heard the thumps?
Yes.
Did you tell her what to do if you did not call her back within 10 minutes?
Sustained.
What else did you say about calling back after 10 minutes?
I made a comment like, start to worry. It's a joking comment.
Were you joking?
Well, it was a nervous joke.
And when you told her that, so after the defendant left for the airport, were you in a hurry to call her back?
Yes.
And why is that?
Well, because I know that my last dialogue with her was that I was going to call her, so I know she was probably wondering why I haven't called her. So I called her right away.
Had you told her what to do if you didn't call her back in 10 minutes besides start worrying?
No.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
Had you told her, other than to start worrying if you didn't call back in 10 minutes, did you tell her to do anything if you didn't call back?
No.
Do you recall testifying at the preliminary hearing in this matter?
To the last question? Or
Do
to
you
the
recall
statement?
testifying concerning what you told Rachel to do if you did not call back within 10 minutes?
No, I don't remember.
Excuse me. Yeah, no, Your Honor. Page 70 of the grand jury transcript and page 106 of the preliminary hearing. Excuse me one moment. And you recall testifying at the preliminary hearing and before the grand jury in this matter, sir?
Yes.
To what you've been testifying to before this jury?
Yes.
Same subject matter, is that right?
Yes.
And do you recall testifying to your state of mind at the time that you told Rachel Ferrara to start worrying if she doesn't hear from you in 10 minutes?
Yes, I said that.
And do you recall what you said your state of mind was at that time?
Scared. Yes.
And what else?
I don't remember.
You recall testifying that you were worried?
Oh, scared and worried. Okay.
And when you went back to call Rachel Ferrara, how had it been since you hung up the phone with her to go and investigate the South Pathway when you called her back after the defendant left for the airport?
I guess it would be about 20 to 25 minutes.
So can you estimate for us what time it was when you finally called her back?
Had to be about 11:15, 11:20.
All right, and did something interrupt the phone call with Rachel?
Yes, during the phone call.
What happened?
A call waiting beep.
You have call waiting on your phone?
Yes.
And what happens when you're talking on the phone and another call comes in?
It makes a beep noise.
And that occurred about what time?
At about 11:40, I thought.
And who was on the other line?
OJ.
And what did he say to you?
That he forgot to alarm the house, that I should alarm it.
And had you ever done that before?
No.
So what did you do when he asked you to alarm the house?
Well, he told me a code, and he said there's buttons that you press. So I wrote down the code, and then I told Rachel after I hung up, I said I have to go and alarm the house.
So you told the defendant after he gave you the code that you would go and do it?
Yes.
Then what happened?
Hold on.
Objections, you repeated the sentence.
Is that a legal objection?
Yes. It's not a question.
It's foundational to the question.
Proceed.
You hung up with Rachel, and what did you do?
Okay, when I hung up on OJ in the call waiting, then I hung up on Rachel and said I'd be back, I went to alarm the house.
And where did you go to do that?
I had to go take the path again to the front door. The left of the front door is a pad with buttons, and I pressed the alarm.
And that path that you're talking about, sir, where does that run along? What street does that?
You pass Ashford. It's the path I've been taking.
And the control pad was outside the front door?
Outside the front door.
And you set the alarm at that time then?
Yes, I did.
Did you notice any difference in the light? You earlier indicated you saw that the alarm light was green. After you set it, what color was it?
After you said it, he said to wait a few seconds and it goes red. And I waited till it was red, and when I was finished with that, I went right back to the room.
Okay, and what did you do when you went back to the room?
I called Rachel back.
And what did you talk with her about that time?
I just said that that was OJ on the call waiting, that I alarmed the house, and I just said, the thumping. I was just going, God, this is weird.
And you talked again about the noises, the thumps that you'd heard about 10:40, 10:45?
Yes, because I never went back.
So were you still worried about those noises?
Yes.
Were you still worried that there might be somebody back there?
Objection.
Sustain.
What were you worried about?
Well, I don't know about back, but there was a noise that someone might be around.
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
Near the house?
Somewhere in the property.
How long did you stay on the phone with Rachel at this point?
Oh, after I called her back again?
Right. After you set the alarm.
Boy, I think
called again.
I stayed on probably an hour, hour and a half. It was pretty
What-
long.
So were you still on the phone with her at midnight?
Yes, I think I was.
Do you recall hearing any voices on the property around midnight?
No.
Or any other sounds like those thumping sounds?
No.
Or any footsteps?
No.
Were you still on the phone with her at 12:30?
I believe so.
Did you hear Chachi barking?
No.
At any point that night, did you hear Chachi bark?
No.
Can you tell us what the weather was like that night?
It was like 65 degrees, sort of cool, and it was a little mist, not a semi-fog.
Semi-fog?
It wasn't, a dense fog or anything. It just seemed like it was just a little bit cloudy. It wasn't a clear night.
It was a little bit misty.
Yeah, a little mist.
So were you hot or sweating that night?
No.
When you went out with Mr. Simpson to McDonald's for food, was he hot or sweaty?
As best I could tell, no.
All right. Well, what time did you end your phone call with Rachel?
I think about 1 a.m.
And about what time did you go to sleep?
I went to turn the light off about 1:30 a.m.
Okay. How did you sleep that night?
It was toss and turning, not a good sleep.
And why was that?
I guess I was worried. I just wasn't sleeping well. I had thoughts in my head. It wasn't, I just still had thoughts of the night, the noise, and I just wasn't sleeping.
You had thoughts of the noise? You mean the thump?
thump.
Did you hear any noises that disturb your sleep?
No.
Can you tell us what when the buzzer at the Ashford gate is pressed to be opened? Somebody standing outside the gate wants to get in. They push that button. What sound does it make inside the house?
The phones ring.
It's a phone ringing?
A phone that rings, yes.
Right. Do you recall hearing that sound of the phone ringing in the main house after you went to sleep that night?
Yes.
Can you describe what you heard?
During the night, I didn't know the time. It was tossing. I didn't think it was real, but it was a constant ring. The phone was ringing, and it has a different ring to it. It's a business phone, and it was ringing and ringing. And I was just going, oh my God, who's calling? And it continually just was ringing and ringing.
Mm-hmm. And this was after you'd gone to sleep at
Yes.
1:30. Do you know exactly what time it was when you heard that?
I don't know the exact time, but I would guess 3:30 or 4, possibly.
Or 5?
Yep.
6? Do you know?
No, I don't know the exact time.
Did you look at your clock or anything when you heard the ringing?
No.
You stayed in bed.
Yes.
You kept your eyes closed?
Yeah, it was the ringing in my head, and I was trying to sleep, but I thought it was maybe a dream, but it was just ringing and ringing.
Now, at some point, were you awakened?
Yes.
By what?
There was a knocking, banging at the door.
And who was at the door?
4 detectives.
And do you recall what time it was when those 4 detectives knocked on your door? Or came to your door?
I thought it was between 5 and 6 a.m.
Can you tell us what those officers were dressed in? How did they appear?
Suit, coat, and tie.
All of them?
Yes.
Do you recall which ones were wearing, if they were all wearing coats or whether some were not?
Oh, it's leading is what it is. Leading.
Do you recall whether or not all of them were wearing coats?
I think they all were wearing suit coats.
Are you sure?
I mean, no, I'm not 100% sure, but I thought they were wearing coats.
Were they all wearing ties?
I think so. I'm pretty sure they were wearing ties, yes.
Did they ask something of you when you opened the door?
They said, police.
And did they ask you any questions?
After I opened the door?
Yes.
Yes.
What was that?
It was, who are you? Do you live here? Who else lives here? Do I own a car or a truck?
They asked what your name is?
Yes, that's my name.
Now, what was your condition at the time?
I'm sorry. Galen, have you finished telling us what they asked you?
I'm going in my head what else was asked in that in the beginning, but yeah, that was the beginning of what they asked me.
What was your state of mind or your condition at the time that those officers knocked on your door?
Well, I was shooken up. There was 4 strangers at my door, and I didn't know what was going on, so I was very startled.
Okay. Did you feel? Can you tell us whether you felt disoriented or confused?
Oh, yes.
Did you expect to see officers at your door between 5 and 6 in the morning?
No.
Now, do you recall how many officers there were at your door?
4.
Right. And who was the one speaking to you when you first opened the door?
I don't know his name. I don't know that detective's name.
Okay. Was it Phil Van Adder?
No.
Was it Tom Lang?
No.
Was it Mark Furman?
No.
Was it Ron Phillips?
If that was the 4th detective, yes.
Okay. But you know who Phil Van Adder is, right?
Yes.
You know who Tom Lang is?
Yes.
You know who Mark Furman is?
Yes.
Okay. It wasn't one of those?
No.
Okay. It was the 4th guy.
Yes.
When they asked if you lived there, what did you say?
Yes, I stayed in this the guest house.
What did you tell when the 4 officers first came to your door? What did you tell them?
Well, I also had said, "Is everything okay?" I said, "Did OJ's plane crash?" I was.
Did you say OJ's plane or did you say the plane?
Sustained. It's leading.
Do you recall whether you said it was OJ's plane or the plane?
I possibly could have said the plane crash. The plane crash. I could have, and I think I did. I was worried about a plane crash.
And did they respond to that?
No.
Was that the first thing you said?
It was one of the very first, if not the first.
Okay. Did you tell them who lived there?
Gosh, I don't remember. If I did. I don't think I did.
Okay. At some point, did you direct them to Arnell's house?
Yes.
And Arnell's unit? And why was that?
They had asked who else lived on the grounds, and I pointed to her room.
Did they ever ask if they could get into the house or someone could help them with that?
They asked me if I had keys to the house, if I could get into the house. I said no, and that's why I pointed to, I believe, Arnell.
And after you pointed out Arnell's unit, what happened next?
So I pointed to Arnell's unit, and they knocked on her door. I believe it was two detectives went and knocked on the door, and they pounded on the door for a while, and then Arnell came out.
And you saw Arnell come out?
Yes,
And where were you when she did that?
at my doorway.
And was which officers were staying with you?
One was Detective Furman, and I don't know the other one.
Okay. Are you sure there were 2 detectives staying with you?
No.
Did you have a conversation with Detective Furman?
Yes.
By the way, when the officers went over to Arnell's door, can you tell us how long it took her to answer before she answered?
Boy, they pounded for a while, and I guess it seemed like 2 minutes might have been a very long time for the pounding that was going on. Is it 2 to 3 minutes?
And during that time that they were knocking on her door, what were you doing?
I was wondering why she wasn't getting the door because it seemed pretty loud. And that was it.
Were you talking to anyone?
I think I was.
Who?
I think it was Detective Furman.
And what were you telling? Was he asking you questions at that time?
We went in my room after Arnell came out.
Okay. What happened when you and Detective Furman went into your room?
Yes.
Okay. After Arnell came out and you and Detective went into your room, Detective Furman went into your room, what happened next?
He asked me some questions.
Okay. What did he? Before he asked you questions, what did he do in the room?
He looked around the room.
Okay. And what do you mean he looked around the room?
Well, he was in my room, and I was kind of pointing things out in the room.
Do you have closets in that room?
Yes.
Can you indicate where on this photograph those closets are?
Yeah, in the on the top photograph here.
Okay, direct the light.
It's straight against. Go straight up, and go to a little bit to your right. Right there.
Okay, this door is a closet?
There's doors there. Correct.
These two doors?
Two of them. Right. Now the one on the on your far right, that's more the clothes closet, and the other one has just a little like stove in it. You could store things in, but it's more not a closet, but like a little stoves in there, and you can stack stuff up on top.
Okay. Do you recall whether those closet doors were open or closed when Detective Furman stepped in your room that night or morning?
I don't recall.
And so you showed him around the room?
Yeah, I pointed through. I mean, the closet for me, I probably had it open, but I showed him the room,
And he looked around?
and he looked around.
What did he ask you?
He asked me what I wore last night, the night before.
And what did you do?
I showed him.
And where were those clothes?
There's a chair that I usually hung things on. So my pants were there, and then I had boots. And he looked at the boots, and he examined the bottoms of the boots.
So he looked at your clothing and your boots?
Yes.
What else did he ask you?
He asked me, well, I still showed him like the typewriter, what I was doing that night. I showed him the office. I said, there's a typewriter I was trying to type yesterday. And I brought up the noise, the thumps that I heard to him.
Did he ask you where you'd been the night before?
No, I don't. He asked me what I have done, did the night before, and I told him about talking to Rachel.
And at any point, do you recall discussing with him whether or not you'd been drinking or doing any drugs the night before?
Yes, he asked me that. And he gave me a test.
What kind of test did he give you?
I think it was a pen.
He took a pen out?
A pen, he might have had a light in my eyes. But he had a pen, and I followed it.
He made you follow the pen?
Yes.
Watching back and forward? Okay. Can you tell us how you looked that night when you got woken up between 5 and 6 a.m.?
How I looked that night?
Mm-hmm.
Very tired.
How about your eyes?
Red. And I mean, they were very red, and I just read, and I think he might have assumed that he asked me if I was smoking marijuana.
Okay. Had you been?
No.
All right, you told him about the thumps on the wall?
Yes.
Did you tell him what time you heard those thumps?
At the best of my recollection, I don't remember if I told him the time on that. I told him about the noise I heard.
You don't remember if you told him what time or not?
I don't think I did.
You don't think you did?
I don't remember if I right now. I don't know if I did. I know I said I heard this noise, these thumps. To him, I told.
Okay. All right, what is the state of your answer, sir? Is it that you do not remember whether or not you told him, or you think you did not?
That I do not remember.
You don't remember.
I don't remember.
You might have told him?
I might have.
Okay. Did you tell him that you had gone out to that walkway area twice earlier that night to investigate the thumps?
No.
All right, you indicated also that you told him about Rachel. What did you say about that?
I was telling her that I was telling about the night before, and I was talking to her most of the night.
Did you have any conversation with him about the defendant's white Ford Bronco?
No.
All right. Do you recall whether or not you had any conversation with him about seeing a limousine at the house the night before?
I think I did tell him that about the limousine.
Okay. Did you ever tell him what time the defendant left the house?
I don't think I did at that time. No.
Anything else happened during your any other conversation that you can remember?
No, I think after we did the test, we're all going to go inside the main house.
Okay. How long did your conversation with Detective Furman last, sir?
I think about 5 minutes inside the room.
Is that an estimate you're giving us?
Estimate about 5 minutes.
After your conversation, what did you do?
I followed whatever they told me to do. I did, so we all went outside.
Okay. Did he tell you to come outside?
Yes.
And where did he take you?
I followed through into the main house.
Okay. Who did you follow?
I believe Arnell was leading with Key and the rest of the detectives.
Okay, so you actually saw Arnell walking into the house ahead of you?
Yes.
And did you walk in behind her
Yes.
with Detective Furman?
Yes.
When you entered the house, did you enter before or after Detective Furman?
I think I was before.
Okay. You were ahead of him?
I was ahead of him.
And when you entered the house, what area did you go to?
When you go into that door, there's a bar area. And I went to the bar area.
You went to the bar area?
Yes.
And what did you do at the bar area?
They asked me to have a seat there.
Detective Furman?
I believe so.
So you sat at the bar area, did you?
Yes.
Then what happened?
Well, I sat at one of the stools, the bar, and then Detective Van Etter sat next to me.
Now, after you sat down at the bar area, where did Detective Furman go? Did he stay with you?
No,
Did he leave?
he wasn't in the room with me.
Did he leave after you sat
Yeah,
at the
he
bar?
wasn't in the room, so he left.
And then Phil Van Etter came and sat down and talked to you, did he?
Yes.
And what did you tell him?
I went over pretty much the same things and told him more about the entire night. And he wrote things down.
He took notes?
Yes.
recall during your conversation with Detective Van Adder what you told him about where Mr. Simpson was?
Yes,
And what did you tell him?
that he was on a flight. He went to Chicago.
Now we have people's.
Two, please.
Okay. Do you see the area that you have earlier been discussing called the bar area?
Yes.
Would you please direct the light, sir?
Go straight up. That's the seats. That's the bar.
Is that where you sat?
I sat in that. No, next one. That one.
You sat in that chair?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive that was the chair.
All right. And that's where Detective Furman asked you to sit earlier?
Yes.
Where did Detective Van Adder come and sit when he spoke to you?
Next to it, though. That one.
Now, you indicated that you told him that the defendant was in Chicago?
Yes.
Okay. And did you tell Detective Van Adder what time the defendant left?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you tell him?
That he was took a limo to the airport, and I thought it was about 11:15.
So you told Detective Van Adder what time
Yes.
the defendant left. At the time that you had this discussion with Detective Van Adder, was Mark Furman standing near you?
No.
What else did you tell Detective Van Adder?
That I also told him about the noises, the thumps that I heard.
Did you tell him what time you heard the thumps?
I believe so.
And what did you tell him?
That I heard the thumps at about 10:40. That I was on the phone at the time. I thought there was an earthquake. My picture moved.
And at that time, were you and Detective Van Adder alone in the bar area?
Yes, I was facing the front of the bar, and I couldn't see behind me, but I believe we were just the two in that area. I'm pretty positive.
All right. While you were seated at the bar area with Phil, towards the end of that conversation, did something occur that drew your attention?
Oh, yes.
And what was that?
Arnell had screamed.
What did she scream?
She said, "Oh my God!"
And where did that sound appear to be coming from?
The kitchen.
On this photograph, sir, I know it's not depicted in the photograph. Can you tell us in a general direction the kitchen would be?
Do you know the seat that I was in?
Yeah, start there, direct the dot.
And go to your right all the way. Yeah, past, but it's off, but it's being there. Past
that
there yet.
direction. Okay. And can you walk from the bar area into the kitchen area? Is there like a hallway there?
Yes.
So you heard her scream, "Oh my God." And then what happened?
And I was sitting there, and I knew something was very wrong.
Then what happened?
And I believe the detective finished the interview with me, and he had told me what had happened.
Okay. And what did he tell you?
That Nicole was murdered.
And when after he told you that, well, at the time that he told you that, was it just, again, you and he alone in the bar area?
I think at that moment we were alone, and I think then Arnell was walking in also.
As he was telling you?
Yes.
And where did she walk in from? What direction?
With the kitchen area back into the bar area.
What? And then after Arnell came into the bar area, what happened next?
We hugged and
And then?
went into the kitchen area.
Who went into the kitchen area?
I think we all were in there. In the kitchen area, from what I remember.
When you say we all, who are you talking about?
Well, I went with Detective Vanetta in there, and I think Detective Lang was in there. and Arnell was there. And then there was a phone call that was going to be made.
Okay. You indicated earlier there was a fourth detective whose name you do not recall. Was he in there as well?
I believe so.
Did you see Detective Furman in there at that time?
The other two, I can't be 100% positive if he was in there or not. It seemed...
Who do you recall seeing in the kitchen, Mr. Kalin?
I recall Detective Vanetter and Arnell and myself and Detective Lang, and that's I'm sure on. And I think the others too, but I'm not sure.
Okay, and who was making the phone call that you're talking about?
Arnell was making the call.
So you saw her with the phone in her hand, did you?
Yes.
And did you hear her speak to someone?
She was trying to, yes.
You know, I have here a photograph. I'd ask you mark people's. Equals 145. It was corrected in there.
All right.
Showing you people's 141, sir. Can you tell us? You can look at your monitor. Do you recognize that area?
Yes. It's the kitchen.
That's the kitchen area, sir?
Yes, it is.
All right. Where is the phone that you're talking about?
Okay, do you have the light?
Yeah.
Straight against the wall.
Which wall?
Go straight right now, right there, now down. And to your right. Right there.
All right. That's the phone right there?
You're on the phone, yes.
All right. And you saw Arnell on that phone?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
And at some point, did she remain on the phone and have a conversation?
No.
What did she do?
She started crying.
And then what did she do?
She handed the phone to, I believe, Detective Lang.
And what did Detective Lang do?
He got on the phone and said what happened to, I believe, Nicole's mother.
Now, did you remain in the kitchen at that point?
Yes, I was in the kitchen.
All right. Do you recall saying anything to Phil Van Adder after that phone call with that Arnell and Detective Lang had with the Brown family?
Yes.
What?
I had mentioned to him about that noise that I heard, the thumps, if it meant anything.
Did you ask him anything about it?
Yes.
What did you ask?
I said, did you ever check on that noise that I heard behind the wall?
And what was his response?
Like a shrug. He didn't really answer.
All right. Now, after that point, you remained in the kitchen still?
Yes.
Did anyone ever ask you about, at that point, while you were in the kitchen, about the white Ford Bronco?
Yes.
And what did they ask you? Who, first of all?
I thought it was Detective Vanetter.
Detective Van Adder?
Van Adder.
And what did he ask you?
If there's keys to the Bronco.
And what was your response?
I said, yeah, I think there's keys somewhere. And I started to look for keys.
And you did look for keys then?
Yes, I did.
Did you find any?
I found the key, not the key, but I found keys, not the Bronco keys.
You never found any keys to the Bronco?
No.
Did anyone help you look for keys to the Bronco?
I thought I was doing it on my own. Arnell might have, but I know I was. But just, I was going through some drawers.
Anybody ever find keys to the Bronco?
No, not when I was there.
At some point, do you recall seeing Sydney and Justin at the house?
Yes, I do.
And where did you see them?
They were in the kitchen. They showed up in the kitchen.
When was the first time that you saw them? Before or after you spoke to Detective Van Adder at the bar area?
It was after that.
What did you do, if anything, with the children in the kitchen?
Justin started playing video games on the TV that's to the side. You can't see it in the shot, but it's right to the by the chairs there. I don't know. To the right of the picture, you can't see it in there, but that's where the TV is. It hooks up to a video games, and Sydney was lying on the little nook couch.
Showing. Showing you people's 142, Mr. Kalin, can you tell us whether you can see the television that you've earlier described?
Yes, you can.
And where is it?
It's right. Yes, straight right there.
Now, at some point, how were you dressed at this particular time, if you recall?
I think I had just a shirt on and I think pajama bottoms. I'm pretty sure.
Is it a T-shirt?
A T-shirt.
Did you ask for permission to change those clothes at any point?
Yes, I did.
And was that before or after the children? You saw the children in the kitchen.
I think it was while they were there that I went to my room, changed.
Do you recall whether a police officer escorted you to your room or not?
I don't recall.
And you did, but did you go back to your room and change clothes?
Yes, I did.
After you changed clothes, where did you go?
Back into the kitchen area.
And what happened after you got back into the kitchen area?
I was playing with Justin, and Sydney was lying on the little. There's a couch over here also that she was lying on trying to sleep.
What happened? At some point, were you asked to leave the property?
Yes, I was.
How long after changing clothes was that?
I think maybe 10 minutes.
When you left, and did you leave the property then when you were asked to leave?
Yes, I went on Ashford.
Did you leave on your own or were you escorted out
Escorted out.
by a police officer?
Yes.
Were you warned of anything as you were escorted out of the property?
Yes.
And what was that?
They said be careful of the blood.
Were they pointing to some areas on the ground?
Well, they were just kind of walking me, and they didn't point. They were walking with me, and they said be careful of the blood, and I looked down.
Did you see blood?
Yes.
Where was that?
In the foyer. The picture we saw earlier, or the front door.
Let me come back to that. After you were escorted out, where were you escorted out to?
Okay, I went out the driveway,
Mm-hmm.
and they asked me to wait on Ashford. They said that two uniformed police would take me to a station.
And did you go out to Ashford and wait?
Yes, I did.
And what happened after you waited on Ashford?
I waited for someone to pick me up.
Did they?
The ones that were supposed to didn't. Two others were there that took me.
And where did they take you to?
I don't know the station, what it's called. I think it's pretty near the, it's like a 10-minute drive, I think. Whatever station it's called. think it's past Bundy. If you follow Bundy down, I don't know that.
All right, and did you then give an interview to the police officers at the station?
Yes,
Do you recall who those officers were?
yes.
Who?
Brian Carr and Paul Tippin.
And what did you tell them?
I went over everything that I'd said before.
What you've told us here today?
Yes,
Can you recall whether, when you were in the room with Detective Furman, you had that's the first police officer I guess you spoke to, is that right?
yes,
Did you tell him, when you talked about the thumps, did you describe for him what you heard and what you saw in your room?
yes.
What did you tell him in that regard?
I was excited. I said, and then I heard these thumps. There was like 3 thumps, and my picture moved. And I thought we had an earthquake.
Okay. Did you tell him what you thought? About that, whether or not you had
That
an
it could be
earthquake?
something, and someone might have been around.
And then when you indicate that as you were leaving the house that morning, a police officer escorted you out of the house?
Yes,
Did they have a hand on your arm?
I think so. I think they were just walking me out.
And did they steer you around those blood drops you described?
I steered myself. I saw, and I didn't step near.
People's Exhibit number 112.
That's the foyer area?
Yes, it is.
And is that, you indicated you saw blood drops in that area?
Yes,
People's Exhibit number 121.
Did it look like that?
yes.
Now, during the time that you were speaking to the detectives those early morning hours of June the 13th, sir, can you describe your state of mind, your mental condition?
Tired, disorientated, shook up.
How long did you speak to the police officers at the station, the West LA station?
The actual talking, I was there a long time. The actual talking, I don't know how long it was, hour here, then waited again, like another hour or two, and then they came back. And it seemed like about another hour. I was there a long time.
Do you recall approximately what time it was when you completed that interview?
Thought it was about 4 o'clock.
And what did you do then?
They took me. I was going to go back to the house. They said probably not a good idea to, because I didn't know there was all news cameras there. And
You were going to go back to Rockingham, were you?
Yes.
Okay.
And then they asked me if I want to be dropped off somewhere instead.
And what was your response?
Okay.
And where did you go?
To a friend's house,
And who was that friend?
Grant Kramer.
When you got to Grant Kramer's house, did you have a conversation with him?
Yes, we talked.
And what did you tell him?
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
Did you talk about what had happened the night before?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did Grant Kramer ask you any questions?
Grant was doing a lot of talk. He was talking. Yes, they're very excited.
Okay. Did you talk back?
Yes.
And what was the subject matter of your conversation?
Objection.
Hearsay.
Yes.
Sustained.
May I approach?
Yes, with the report, please.
What was your frame of mind when you spoke to Grant Kramer?
Hold. Hold.
I was exhausted.
Can you tell us whether you were calm or agitated?
I was exhausted, yet I still had, like, energy that I was all excited.
You were all excited?
I was exhausted, but I still had the, there was so much going on. I mean, I was tired, but I knew I couldn't sleep.
Did you get a phone call? Were you at Grant Kramer's house?
At some point, yes.
From who?
Hold. Just from who?
From an attorney.
Did you have a lawyer at that time?
No.
What was his name?
Grounds.
Here's.
Hold.
It was Howard Weitzman.
He introduced himself to you, did he?
On the phone, yes.
Okay. And did you have a conversation with him?
Yes.
Who else did you talk to?
OJ.
On the telephone?
Yes.
You talked to him after you spoke to Mr. Weitzman?
I think they both were on.
At the same time?
Yes.
So when you were on the phone, you were speaking to the defendant and his lawyer, Mr. Weitzman, at the same time?
I was talking to Howard Weitzman, but then I thought that OJ came on, so I thought they were all on. I mean, I don't know, I didn't see, but I thought it was like a three-way call.
And who else did you talk to?
I think that was it. You mean on the phone?
On the phone.
I don't remember right now.
During the time that you lived at Rockingham, were you acquainted with anyone who worked for the defendant?
Yes.
Who worked for the defendant?
Skip Taft.
Who else? Who is Skip Taft?
He's OJ's attorney for business, I believe.
Okay. Who else?
Robert Kardashian.
And what did he do for the defendant?
I don't know what the job was. I think they're friends. I don't know business-wise, but I know they're friends.
Okay. Who else?
On the phone? Or
No,
who other friends?
Who worked for the defendant? When you lived on Rockingham.
Kathy Randa?
Okay. Did you talk to her on the telephone that day?
I think I might have.
Was that during that same phone call?
I think so.
Do you recall who it was that initially placed the call to you at Grant Kramer's house?
It could have been Kathy plugging me into Howard Weitzman or Howard Weitzman. I don't remember. I know I talked to him, though.
Okay. So in that phone call at Grant Kramer's house, you spoke to who?
To Howard Weitzman and OJ. And I think Kathy Randa also.
Okay. And who is Kathy Randa?
OJ's secretary.
How long did you talk to them for that first time?
Wasn't very long. I'd say like 5 minutes.
And what did they say?
They said to tell the truth.
Really? Who told you that?
They both did.
Who's both?
Howard Weitzman and OJ.
How'd they
It
know
was-
where to call you?
I don't know.
You didn't tell them you were going to Grant's house?
I think it was on I called the house up on Rockingham and said I was at a friend's house. But I don't know who answered. I can't remember who answered the phone at the house.
Did you leave a phone number where you could be reached?
I must have, I think.
Why did you call the house?
I'm trying to remember if I did. I think I was just seeing what's going on.
And you made that phone call from where?
Well, I was at the police station to make a phone call. And I had my own line, so I called in. That's when I knew something that was a big media event. But when I went to Grant's, I don't remember giving out the number there. I just don't remember. I could have. I don't know.
So you were at the police station. Was it before or after the interview with the police that you called the defendant?
I didn't call.
You said you called the house.
House, there was people there. I don't
Who were you?
know. I
You were
think
at the
it was a
police station.
relative that picked up.
Hold on. Mr. Keelan, let Ms. Clark finish asking the
Okay.
question. Ms. Clark, let him finish speaking before you ask the next question.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You called the house before or after the interview?
It had to be after the interview with
The police
the police.
at the West LA station.
Yes,
It was after?
it had to be because I was there. I didn't make any phone calls when I was there until after they were through with me.
All right. And what phone number did you call?
My phone.
You called your phone?
Yes.
But you weren't home.
No, but I was calling to see my messages.
Okay, you were calling to get your messages played
Yes.
back? And did you call into the main house?
Not from there. I don't remember calling from Grant's house either, though, but I could have. I probably did, but
Okay. Do you remember calling the defendant to tell him or to let someone at the house know where you'd be?
Overruled.
I probably did because I'm sure they were worried about me where I was.
They were worried about you? How long had you known the defendant?
It was at his house for 6 months. I met him before that, like 4 months before.
You went out on the night of June the 12th to McDonald's with him, is that right?
Yes,
Had you ever gone out to dinner with him before?
yes,
How many times?
maybe 2 or 3. And at the also ate at the Gretna Greenhouse, not out but in the house.
Okay. Well, you were staying at the Gretna Greenhouse, weren't you?
Right, when he would come over.
Okay. And the 2 or 3 times that you had dinner with the defendant, was that in the Rockingham location in the residence?
Oh no, out at restaurants.
And what restaurants were those?
We went actually to a Sizzler with the kids. And
who else? The kids and who else?
just myself and OJ.
And Sydney and Justin?
Yes, and my daughter Tiffany.
How many, and your daughter Tiffany?
Yes,
And how many times did you go out with the defendant, just you and he?
not often at all.
How many times?
Maybe once, if that.
During the 6 months that you lived at Rockingham, did you go out with the defendant alone to dinner, ever?
No.
After that first phone call, in which you spoke to the defendant, Kathy Randa, and the defendant's lawyer, Howard Weitzman,
Yes.
did you have another conversation with them?
That same day,
Yes.
I could have. I mean, I don't remember.
Did you also have a conversation with Skip Taft?
Yes,
And was that in the first phone call as well?
I don't remember if it's the first phone call.
And did you have a second phone call with any of the people we've mentioned, Skip Taft, Howard Weitzman, Kathy Randa, or the defendant?
I think I had another phone call with Howard Weitzman.
And who else did you talk to in that second phone call?
I don't remember what day it was, the phone call. It might have been to Robert Shapiro. that I
No,
met.
I'm talking about on June the 13th at Grant Kramer's house.
I don't know. I talked to Howard Weitzman and to OJ and Kathy Randa. That phone call, I don't remember.
Okay, after that phone call, did you have another phone call from any of those people at Grant Kramer's house on June the 13th?
Kathy Randa might have called.
Again?
Yes.
And who did you speak to in that second phone call?
It's possible I spoke to OJ.
Again? For how long?
Probably a very short time. Maybe 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay. And who else did you speak to in that second phone call?
I don't remember. I don't know if it was Howard Weitzman again or not.
You spoke to the defendant and someone else?
Boy. I just can't, I can't remember the phone call. The one phone call, I'm trying to remember and I can't.
Okay, how long did you speak to the defendant in the first phone call?
Maybe it's like 2 to 3 minutes.
And you spoke to him for how long in the second phone call?
Probably the same amount of time, maybe 5 max.
And during the second phone call, who did you talk to besides the defendant?
I don't know.
And in the first phone call, when you spoke to Howard Weitzman, how long did you speak to him?
Maybe 5 minutes.
And how long did you speak to Kathy Randa?
2 minutes.
And how long did you speak to Skip Taft?
I can't give like exact times. I don't know, 5 minutes.
And in the second phone call, what did you discuss with the defendant?
I said I couldn't believe what was going on. And I was just talking about that.
About what?
I don't know. The night of strange things, I said I heard the thumping noise.
Did the defendant tell you what occurred with him after he got back from Chicago? Or did you know?
What had occurred to him after Chicago?
After he got back from Chicago, right.
No, I didn't know.
You weren't watching TV?
The TV might have been on. I knew it at some point, but I didn't know exactly what was all going on. I knew that he was arrested.
Did you talk to him about that?
I think so. I really
Yeah.
don't know the dialogue.
What time was it when you left the police station to go to Grant Kramer's house?
I think at 4 o'clock or so. 4:15.
Okay, after the second phone call, what happened next? That is the second phone call from the defendant to you at Grant Kramer's house.
I don't know. I stayed at Grant's house for a while.
Did you eventually leave his house?
Yes.
And where did you go?
I went back to the Rockingham house.
And why did you do that?
I have my clothes there.
Did someone ask you to go back?
I don't remember. I think I just went back.
You don't remember?
I went back. Yes, I went back and OJ was there.
Did he ask you to come back?
He could have. And I did come back.
So what time did you go back to Rockingham?
I think it was late. I think it was dark. I don't know the times, but Grant took me back.
Grant gave you a ride to the defendant's house?
Yes.
And this was after you had learned that he had been arrested for 2 murders, is that right?
Yes.
You went back to Rockingham.
Yes.
And when you got back to Rockingham, who was there?
It was filled with people.
Who?
I didn't even know the people. It was a lot of relatives, friends, faces that I didn't know, and relatives, Arnell and Jason, and
Okay, do you recall what time it was when you got there exactly?
I thought it was maybe 9:30 or 10. I don't know the time. I know the news was on.
Do you recall what time it was when you left Grant Kramer's house to go to Rockingham
I don't know the time
at all?
at all.
Who did you talk to when you went back to Rockingham?
I had a conversation with OJ.
And what did you talk to him about?
Oh, well,
There was a conversation that about the McDonald's that I didn't see him go back in the house, and that was what we talked about. And I said, no, I didn't see.
And did you talk to him also about the thumps on the wall?
Yes.
Did you tell him what you told the police?
Yes, that I heard this thumping, the picture moved.
And did he ask you what you told the police?
He could have. I'm sure I told him and I told the truth.
You don't remember if he asked you whether or not he asked you what you told the police?
I don't. I said, I said I was at the station, and I was a report, and I told what I'm telling you, that I heard these noises, but he had asked me about that I saw him go back in the house, and I didn't.
Okay. At some point, did you leave Rockingham that night?
I think I did.
And when was that?
I don't know the time, but I think I stayed at Grant's house.
And do you recall whether it was before or after midnight that you left Rockingham?
I think it could have been after midnight.
And you went back to Grant's house?
Yes.
Who else was at Grant's house besides you and Grant?
His girlfriend,
His girlfriend, what's her name?
Kathy.
And who else?
I think there was a guy there that day, but he was leaving. His name was Klein.
What about Rachel Ferraro? Was she there?
Did Rachel show? She might have been there.
Do you have your phone? A segment of the video that has been previously shown to council, Marcus Peoples 143.
Ron Ship.
And where is that location shown in this video?
He's going towards the Rockingham gate.
30 seconds away, 30 seconds away. They were 15 seconds away, 10 seconds away. Okay, we're gonna do it.
Who's that?
It's me.
And that shirt you're wearing, sir, do you recognize it?
Yeah.
Do you remember whether or not that is the shirt you were wearing in the early morning hours of June the 13th?
That's also in the police station I was wearing.
You wore that shirt all day, did you?
Yes, I did.
And did you wear that shirt when you left Grant Kramer's to go back to Rockingham
Probably.
on June the 13th?
Yes. I think I wore it like 2 days, maybe.
Really?
I wore.
See that man? Who's that?
It's looks like Detective Lang and Robert Kardashian.
And who's that
And
dog?
that's Chachi. That's a chow.
That's the dog you were describing as the defendant's dog?
Yes.
All right, you spent the night then at Grant Kramer's house on the night of June the 13th?
Yes.
On June the 14th, did you receive another phone call from Kathy Randa?
I think so.
And did she ask you to do something?
To come in for an interview
Come where for an interview?
to the OJ's office building.
And did you do that?
Yes.
And who did you talk to?
At the interview,
Yes.
it was Skip Taft and Robert Shapiro.
Robert Shapiro?
Yes.
And was that interview tape recorded?
Yes.
Now, did you go back to Rockingham on June the 14th as well?
I might have gone back, but I don't think I stayed the night. I wasn't, I wasn't sleeping well, and I was exhausted, and Gigi was the housekeeper. We kind of like hung out, and I slept on the floor, and she slept in the bed, and we just kind of stayed. And I was off and on, leaving. The dates, I don't know when I left, when I came back, because I know I was going back and forth. It's very hard to remember.
Who took you to the defendant's office building for the interview with Robert Shapiro?
Arnell and her friend Jonah.
And do you know whether they picked? Let me ask you something else. Do you recall Grant Kramer taking you to the defendant's house on Rockingham in the morning of June the 14th?
Yeah, I think so. He probably did.
And who asked you to go over to Rockingham that morning?
OJ.
Okay. And did you talk to him again on the morning of June the 14th at Rockingham?
I think so, that I was going to meet for the interview.
Okay. Did you speak to him at Rockingham before you left for the interview?
I don't remember. I don't know if I saw him there on Tuesday.
Right.
I could have.
Okay.
That I know I was meeting with Skip Taft and Robert Shapiro, and they took me to the office building.
And who was it that took you to the office building?
Arnell and Jonah was driving.
So they took you from Rockingham to the office building, is that
Yes.
right?
Yes, they did.
And how long did you talk to Mr. Shapiro for?
I think I was there about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
And after you had that interview with Mr. Shapiro and Skip Taft, did you get a ride back to Rockingham?
Yes, I did.
And did you spend the night that Tuesday night at Rockingham?
I could have. I'm not 100% positive.
Do you recall calling Grant Kramer on the following Wednesday from Rockingham?
Probably did.
And do you recall what you said to him?
I probably said a few things. I don't know exactly what I said. I think I probably told him about the interview I had
With who?
with Robert Shapiro and Skip Taft.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably told him that I did that. And
Sustain.
Do you recall spending the night there on June the 15th? That'd be Wednesday night at Rockingham.
if I did, I don't remember, but I probably did. I know I was going back and forth and leaving pretty much all the time.
Okay, do you recall at what point you went back to, if ever, you went back to Grant Kramer's house?
I was going to Grant's a lot. I probably did every day. Would go to his house and be there.
Did you go back to his house on the night of Tuesday, June the 14th,
After the interview?
at Shapiro's, with Robert
no,
Shapiro?
Yeah, at the OJ's office. I
Right.
think I did. I think I came home. It was late, and I probably got home about 11:30. Either I don't know if I stayed or not, but I could have left to Grant's. That I don't remember all the time frame of whose house I was staying at. I know I wasn't sleeping well at OJ's house at all, and I was trying to go to Grant's.
So you did spend at least one night at the defendant's house, is that right?
I think I spent at least one night.
Could it have been 2 nights?
It could have.
Do you recall on Thursday the 16th whether or not you went back to Grant Kramer's house to spend the night?
On the 16th,
Yes.
I think I did.
Okay, now you had the interview with Mr. Shapiro on June the 14th. That was an hour and a half to 2 hours, you said?
Yes.
Did you have a subsequent interview with investigators employed by the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And when was that?
It was in the summertime?
of 94?
Yes.
And who were those investigators?
One name was Hostetler, and another name was Klavnik,
Pavlik?
Pavlik.
And how long did that interview last?
That was about 2 to 3 hours.
Was it recorded?
I don't think it was recorded. I think it was notes.
They
It could
took
have been-
notes?
Yeah, my lawyer at the time was there. I think he would know better. I think it was just notes.
Were you ever shown a copy of those notes?
Myself, no.
Did they ever show you a copy of any report they generated as a result of that interview?
Not to me, no.
Did Mr. Shapiro ever give you a copy of the tape of the interview that he conducted with you on June the 14th?
Not to me, no.
Did you get a transcript of that tape at some point?
Yes.
From who?
I think it was from your office.
Now, did you have another meeting with members of the defense team
Yes.
after that 2 to 3 hour interview with Pavlik and Hostetler?
Yes.
And when was that?
It was about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, right around there.
And who was at that meeting?
My Bill Janego, my lawyer, and Robert Shapiro, and myself.
And who did you speak to?
To Robert Shapiro.
And how
Yep.
long was that for?
There was another one also that I didn't go into. It was at the offices with Robert Shapiro, and Carl Douglas, and Bill Janego. But I was at the office, but I didn't go in to meet.
Your lawyer met with the defendant's lawyers?
They went into a meeting room, yes, but I don't know what it was about.
And how long did that last?
Yes. I think half hour, 40 minutes.
And was it after that that you had another interview with Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
And who was present at that interview?
Myself, Bill Janego, my lawyer, and Robert Shapiro.
How long did that interview last?
45 minutes to an hour.
And was it tape recorded?
No.
Was anybody taking any notes that you could see?
My lawyer, I think, took notes.
What about Mr.
think.
Shapiro?
I don't know. I don't know if he did or not. He was going through papers.
Did he have an investigator there?
No.
And how long was that interview for?
About 45 minutes to an hour.
And when did that last interview, with Mr. Shapiro take place?
Like 3 weeks ago to a month. 3 weeks ago, I think, right around.
Did you have another interview after that with Mr. Shapiro?
No.
You consider yourself the defendant's friend, don't you, Mr. Kalin?
Yes.
You did back in January of 94.
Yes.
You did in June of 94.
Yes.
And you still do?
I'm still a friend. I know my job is to be 100% honest, and that's what I'm going to do.
Since the murders of Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown, can you tell us how many acting jobs you've acquired?
I think 4. Do you want me to name them? That I know? I Talk Soup,
That was on E! Channel?
E.
You hosted that show?
Yes. There was a show called The Watcher that we just did.
You had a role in that show, did
Yes. There was the USA Today.
you? And what was that?
It was like a hosting job.
You hosted that show, did you?
Yes, with a comedian woman.
What else?
I did a current affair piece
And what did that piece consist of?
just about myself. Nothing with the case.
Did you discuss your role as a witness, though? Not the testimony that you were going to give, but the fact that you were a witness.
Well, I didn't say they knew I was a witness. I didn't talk about being a witness. It was me saying, I mean, they knew I was a witness, and I said things. I never saw it, the show. I don't know what went on. But they knew I was a witness, and yes, there was like...
There was some discussion of that?
Yes.
And how many segments was that?
I did it in a day and a half.
Do you know over how many days it aired on the television?
3.
Okay. And what else did you do?
Watcher. What is...
Any feature films?
Yeah, one called For Life or Death.
You had what kind of role? Leading role, supporting role?
Supporting.
And anything else?
I think that's it.
Do you have anything planned for the future on television?
I hope so. I mean, I have on TV. There's a film supposed to happen. It's the 16th minute.
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to go, nothing is set.
And are you going to play a leading role in that?
That hasn't been decided, but probably.
And what about anything else you've done on television that's going to air? Fox TV?
Oh, that's a voiceover.
For an animated series?
Cartoon called Eek the Cat.
Your Honor, may I be permitted to go over so I can complete this for a few minutes?
A little. How much over?
5 minutes.
Go.
Thank you. Now, you've been attempting to establish yourself in the field of acting for how many years, sir?
A long time. Like,
More than 10 years?
yes.
Would it be fair to say that you've had more acting roles in the last 9 months since the murders of Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown than you have in the last 10 years?
Yes.
When the defendant came back from the recital on June the 12th after seeing Nicole, what was his demeanor?
From the recital,
That's right.
he was upset about not being able to see Sydney. And he mentioned the comment about the outfits.
And was he angry with Nicole?
Objection, Leading.
Hold on. Sustain, rephrase the question.
What was his attitude about Nicole?
Well, it was over. The relationship was over, was mentioned. That Nicole and him were no longer together.
And in what tone of voice did he say that?
It was matter of fact. Nicole and I are over.
He was not angry with her?
It wasn't. I don't know what you mean by angry. What anger is?
Was he yelling?
No.
Was he screaming?
No.
You ever told anybody that he was yelling and screaming about Nicole when he came back from the recital on June the 12th?
No.
What about his demeanor when he was getting ready to leave for the airport after 11 o'clock? How would you describe it?
Rushed.
In a hurry?
Yes.
Did he seem to be agitated or upset?
That he was in a rush. Definitely was trying to hurry.
Did he seem very frazzled?
Well, when we tried to get the flashlight, we didn't get the flashlight. It was, oh, didn't get it, and he went to the limo. And I was frazzled, I don't know what the word, but we didn't set the alarm, so his mind was elsewhere for not setting the alarm.
Was his demeanor at that time unusual based on what you had seen of him on prior occasions?
Well, that's one of the first times I see him like late for something, like a flight. So I can't compare it to, but yeah, he was in a hurry. And it was frazzled to get in the car.
Do you recall telling anyone that he was more nervous and frazzled than you'd ever seen him before? That you'd never seen him in that condition before?
No, I didn't say that.
When you spoke to the defendant before the recital, do you recall the subject matter of his relationship with Nicole coming up?
That came up a few times that it was over. The relationship was over.
Came up a few times during that day, did it?
Well, yes, it came up. Just that was part of the conversation. It was that we had a white picket. He wanted the white picket fence, the family, but it was over, and he wasn't sure about Paula, if she was the one.
And when he made those statements about it being over with Nicole, was he angry?
I think he was saying it was over. It could have been inside, but I couldn't think for him what he was thinking. He could have been upset and angry.
Motion
No, it's being non-responsive. Motion is granted. Ladies and gentlemen, you disregard that last comment.
When he made those statements that we referred to about Nicole, can you describe his body language?
There's different times. One was sitting in a chair.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Did he,
Well, they're going on to something. There was a non-responsive answer to the question, so we'll ignore it at this point.
when he made the remark to you after the recital about Nicole and her tight dresses, did he clench his teeth?
Sustained.
Otherwise, it's going to be vague.
Rephrase the question.
What was the defendant's physical demeanor, his physical body movements when he talked to you about Nicole wearing tight dresses?
Overruled.
Answer.
You can answer the question.
Oh, that he was upset. He made a point to say the tight dresses that I mentioned before.
Did you see him clench his fist or his teeth?
I didn't see like that clenching his fist or his teeth. He was upset, and it was like, oh, those wearing those tight outfits. When I mentioned, what are they going to do when they're grandmas?
Mm-hmm. Longer than I thought, Your Honor. I give up.
5 minutes? 10
Probably.
minutes?
15 or 20, I think. I'm sorry. I was hopeful, but
Let's finish. All right. $14.92. What's our? Need another notebook. Deputy McNair, another notebook. Need two? Just one. Just $14.92? You using both sides? All right, Madam Reporter, you ready? Ms. Clark. Because of the arrangements with the jury, we do have an absolute 4 o'clock limit today.
when you went back to Rockingham after going to Grant Kramer's house, what was the first thing, and you saw the defendant there?
On Monday?
Yes.
Okay.
What was the first thing he said to you?
Overruled.
That we're watching TV, but the TV was on, and I was on the side, but no one was in the room yet, and I don't know what station it was, but they were doing a time frame, and it was just about the trip to McDonald's, and it mentioned something about the time frame, and that they mentioned a time. But the time was about 9:40 that I had not seen him, and OJ said that he said no, Cato knows that I was in the house.
And what did he say to you?
That was it. Cato, you know I was in the house.
Do you recall telling Grant Kramer that the defendant said to you, "Oh, thank God, you can tell them I was home all the time"?
No, but that's what I said. That Cato knows I was home.
That's what he said?
That was basically.
Overruled.
Is that what he said?
Yes.
And your response was?
That I didn't see. And go in the house because I went to my guest room.
When you were talking to the defendant about, earlier in the day, about playing golf and playing cards, he talked to you about his golf game?
It could have been in the past that he golfed. I asked how he did. He said he did okay.
He said he did okay.
I think so, yeah.
Did he complain about any pain in his arms or his hands at that time?
No.
Later on in the evening, did he complain when you went to McDonald's of having cut or bruised his hands in any way?
No.
When he referred to Nicole before the recital, what words did he use to describe her?
Before the 2:30 hour or so, there wasn't like a lot of talk about it at that hour. It was the 2:30 hour was kind of the casual talk about the golf game. It was they were over. I mean, I've heard that before, so I never, gave it much. Oh, it's over again or not, because it got back and forth. It was back and forth. So I was like, you never knew if it was over or not. I mean, I didn't know.
Did this time seem different to you?
Not at the 2:30, no.
When did it seem different to you?
Well,
Sustained. Rephrase the question.
When, if ever, did it seem different to you?
see, that's what I don't know when different, because it was off and on a lot.
You said it not at 2:30. It did not seem like this time it was different.
Well, after that, the recitals, there was a comment about something that was more direct about the dresses, but still, that didn't really mean it was over. In my head, I wasn't thinking maybe it's over for that day or two. But I couldn't, assume that it was over for good.
Did the defendant ever tell you about a bracelet he bought for Nicole in May of 1994 for her birthday?
I knew something about a bracelet, but I don't know the whole story on the bracelet.
What did the defendant tell you about that?
Overruled.
From what I remember, and it's not exact, is that the bracelet was for Nicole. And I thought it might have been a birthday gift, because her birthday was in May.
And was it just, did he describe it to you at all?
I don't remember that. I know it was diamonds and expensive, but I'm not into jewelry, so I didn't pay attention really.
So he told you he bought her an expensive diamond bracelet for her birthday in May of 1994, is that right?
At some point, I knew about a bracelet. I mean, I don't think he specifically told me. I think I heard he bought her a bracelet.
Did he tell you whatever happened with that bracelet?
Oh, well,
Then I know it went to Paula.
The defendant gave it to Paula after he gave it to Nicole?
I believe so.
And do you know how the defendant came to have that bracelet back after he gave it to Nicole?
I don't. I think it was given back.
sustained. Curious to disregard that as being a speculative answer.
During the afternoon, did the defendant complain to you that he was unable to shuffle the cards at the country club that day when he played cards after playing golf?
Sustained.
Do you recall having any conversations about the physical condition of the defendant's hands at the Riviera Country Club on the date of June the 12th?
No.
You and the defendant, when you walked out to McDonald's, did you walk behind him? When you walked out to go to the car to go to McDonald's, did you walk behind him?
Yes.
And did you walk through the pool area behind him?
Overruled.
We walked to the back door
Yes.
and through the bar area.
Okay. And
Yes.
you were walking behind him, were you?
Yes.
And where did you walk then?
To the kitchen nook, out the door to the car.
And you were walking behind him the whole time?
Yeah, pretty much so. I think he was leading.
Did he walk funny?
No.
Was he limping?
No.
And when you got into the car, you indicated you went to a McDonald's on Santa Monica Boulevard?
Yes.
Is that the closest McDonald's to Rockingham?
No.
Which one is closer?
There is one on, I believe, Wilshire.
On Wilshire?
Yes.
But you didn't go to that one.
No.
Who chose which McDonald's to go to? Who chose the place to go and eat?
OJ.
And you're sure you did not go to Burger King?
Oh, yes.
You went
No.
to McDonald's?
McDonald's.
Without the court reporter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the afternoon at this point. As you know, we've had a modified court schedule, a little shorter than normal the last couple of weeks, and we're going to be modifying it again, but I'll chat with you about that later in the week. We're going to stand in recess then until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Mr. Kalin, you are ordered not to discuss your testimony with any other person other than the attorneys on the case. You're ordered to be here tomorrow morning, 8:45.
Yes.
All right? All right, we'll stand in recess tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. And we'll have another DNA and discovery motion tomorrow at 3:15.